Chapter 14:13. The Emperor-killing sword stabbed into the ground, and a black wave of light spread out incredibly quickly. Zhao Fu roared, "Weapon Grandmaster!" Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the Emperor-killing sword exploded out with a black pillar of light that shot into the sky with terrifying power, causing the sky to tremble. The black light spread out in the sky and a berserk gale blew out from the pillar of light. A massive wave of killing intent erupted out from the ground like a volcano, giving off an aura that seemed to be able to sweep away everything as it spread out. Shang Long and the others beside Zhao Fu could sense just how terrifying this power was. They could feel their bodies stiffen as they were ravaged by this wave of killing intent. Their hearts felt icy cold, and they felt immense terror. Boom! The black light wave instantly spread to the position of the Spectre soldiers and continued to spread out. The Spectre soldiers who were within it were all frozen in place. It was a shocking sight. The murderous aura that gushed out like a tidal wave in all directions was like the mouth of a monster, swallowing the frozen Spectre soldiers one by one. The light wave rapidly enveloped the entire battlefield, causing the countless ghost soldiers on the battlefield to come to a halt. Then, they were drowned by the ferocious killing aura. The blood-red sky gradually turned black as the killing aura spread out. In the end, the ferocious killing aura that was like a tidal wave covered the entire battlefield, devouring all the spirit soldiers without exception. Not a single one was able to escape. At this moment, everything seemed to have come to a standstill, causing the entire world to be filled with killing intent. Zhao Fu smiled as he slowly pulled out the sword from the ground. As Zhao Fu pulled out the sword, the massive wave of killing intent once again flowed into the Emperor-killing sword. An even more powerful aura spread out from the Emperor-killing sword, as it had devoured so many ghost soldiers. The battlefield, which had been filled with countless ghost soldiers, was now completely empty. Zhao Fu put the Emperor-killing sword away and smiled as he said, "Let's go." Following this, they came to the entrance to the second level. Just like the first entrance, there was a stage with a 10-meter-tall silver door. There was also a stone stage with a book on it. Around the stage was a 10,000-meter-tall creature that looked like both a human and a ghost. It was humanoid and wore tattered black clothes. It had a pair of sharp claws and a monster-like head with 2 bull horns and 4 eyes. It gave off a terrifying aura and looked quite terrifying. As Zhao Fu advanced, Shang Long said, "Master, this is a soul-carving beast. This is a soul-carving beast, a type of soul beast that can attack one's mind. Furthermore, from the aura it's giving off, it's extremely powerful. Furthermore, it has the ability to turn its body illusory and real. Even with our cultivation bases, it'll be very dangerous for us to face it." After hearing Shang Long's warning, Zhao Fu's expression became serious. However, thinking about his divine bloodline power and 6 paths of reincarnation power, Zhao Fu decided to go by himself and have everyone else stay here. The soul-carving beast discovered Zhao Fu, and its 4 black eyes stared at Zhao Fu as it gave a massive roar. A sound wave spread out, bringing with it a wild gale and a mental attack. In the distance, Shang Long and the others felt an intense pain in their head. This caused their expressions to fall. They had been affected even though they were standing so far away, so how could Zhao Fu, who was the closest, be affected? They hurriedly looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu had already released his divine domain, which weakened much of the soundwave attack, but his head still hurt, causing Zhao Fu's expression to become slightly unsightly. He felt that he had underestimated the soul-carving beast. The gray dot in Zhao Fu's right eye spun and eerie chains shot out from the ground towards the soul-carving beast. However, the soul-carving beast did not move at all and did not show any signs of resisting, making Zhao Fu feel quite surprised. However, in the next second, Zhao Fu found the reason. The countless chains passed through its body, making it seem like an illusory image, and unable to bind it. What shocked Zhao Fu the most was that Zhao Fu had sent large amounts of 6 paths of reincarnation power into each of the chains. ordinary ghosts would find it difficult to resist 6 paths of reincarnation power, but the soul-carving beast could weaken the 6 paths of reincarnation power. Perhaps it was because Zhao Fu was still too weak, or else even if it was just an illusory image, the 6 paths of reincarnation power would have been able to bind it. Boom! The soul-carving beast raised a hand and gave off a ferocious gale as it slammed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu tried to dodge to the side, but a sharp claw appeared in his mind and slammed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's expression fell, and he was not prepared at all. He was sent flying and crashed to the ground, feeling immense pain in his head. However, Zhao Fu's soul was strengthened by his divine bloodline and his divine sense, making his mind quite powerful. Otherwise, an ordinary person would have died from that mental attack. The soul-carving beast coldly looked at Zhao Fu with its 4 eyes before suddenly opening them and shooting out 4 rays of black light containing terrifying power. Zhao Fu hurriedly dodged to the side, and the 4 rays of black light landed where Zhao Fu had been standing. A massive explosion sounded out, creating a 1,000-meter-wide crater, and Zhao Fu's body was sent flying by the shockwave. After crashing to the ground, Zhao Fu coughed up a mouthful of blood. He Xiaojie and the other women wanted to go up and help, but Shang Long stopped them. They would not be of any use and would instead make trouble for Zhao Fu. The soul-carving beast's 4 eyes once again fell on Zhao Fu's body, and they gave off a ghostly light. They once again opened and a formless mental attack rushed towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was still quite fast and quickly escaped, but that mental attack did not seem to have an AoE. 4 eyes appeared in Zhao Fu's mind and shot out 4 rays of black light towards his soul. In that moment, Zhao Fu's hairs stood on end and he felt an intense sense of danger. Zhao Fu instantly used the Emperor-killing sword, and a terrifying sword intent blasted towards the soul-carving beast in his mind. Under the massive sword intent, the soul-carving beast shattered into countless pieces and disappeared. Zhao Fu's Emperor-killing sword could fuse with the Killing Heart sword and had the power to destroy minds. After destroying the image of the soul-carving beast in his mind, the soul-carving beast howled. A trace of anger appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he held the Emperor-killing sword, and a black and blood-red sword light slashed out, giving off a mountain-splitting power as it slashed towards the soul-carving beast. This time, the soul-carving beast did not dare to be careless because the Emperor-killing sword had the power to destroy minds and could cut through spacetime. If its body became illusory, the Emperor-killing sword would still be able to injure it. Boom! Chapter 14:14 Sword Master. Seeing that his sword had been blocked by the black ghost shield, Zhao Fu roared and the Emperor-killing sword exploded out with an incredibly powerful sword intent, which turned into a berserk sword chi storm that slammed into the black ghost shield. Kacha! A crisp sound rang out as the soul-bonding beast's expression changed. Under the bombardment of the sword chi storm, small cracks began to appear on the black ghost shield. The sword chi surged into the cracks, causing the cracks to grow larger and larger. Roar! The soul-carving beast roared and a black aura flowed out, turning into 3-meter-tall monsters that looked just like the soul-carving beast. Their eyes locked onto Zhao Fu as they turned into rays of light and shot towards Zhao Fu. Facing the countless soul-carving beast clones, Zhao Fu immediately retreated and continuously slashed out with his sword, sending out countless black and blood-red arcs of light, killing the incoming soul-carving beast. However, the black aura around the soul-carving beast continuously flowed out, forming soul-carving beast clones. The soul-carving beasts continuously rushed towards Zhao Fu, and whenever Zhao Fu was careless, they would enter Zhao Fu's mind and attack him. Zhao Fu's sword gave off a massive sword light, killing the incoming soul-carving beast. However, there were still a few that entered Zhao Fu's mind from the side, attacking Zhao Fu's mind, causing him to feel immense pain in his head. A wave of sword intent entered his mind and killed the soul-carving beasts. Zhao Fu felt quite annoyed and roared, "Celestial mode, activate!" Boom! An intense rainbow-colored light spread out, illuminating the surroundings, and a terrifying aura blew out like a wild gale. A rainbow-colored magic formation appeared on Zhao Fu's forehead, and a rainbow-colored circle of runes appeared around Zhao Fu. Right now, Zhao Fu's aura was incredibly powerful. The rainbow-colored runes around him slowly rotated, causing the void to tremble. It was as if the entire world was terrified of Zhao Fu. Celestial mode pushed all the powers in Zhao Fu's body to the limit. Whether it was his divine blood or the 6 paths of reincarnation power, they were all pushed to the limit. Moreover, heaven and earth power continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body. This was the first time he had used immortal mode in battle. It was as if he was really an immortal controlling the heavens and earth. In the distance, Shang Long and the others looked at Zhao Fu in fear as they stood in the air, giving off an incredibly terrifying aura. The black and white impermanences were quite familiar with Zhao Fu's power, so they were not too surprised. However, they were incredibly shocked to see Shang Long, Han Lingli, and the others following Zhao Fu. Even now, they did not know who Zhao Fu was. The soul-bonding beast also had a look of fear on its face, but it had nowhere to run. Otherwise, it would have wanted to escape. Now, it could only fight with all its might. Roar, roar, roar. The soul-bonding beast continuously roared, and countless traces of black aura flowed out like a flood, forming countless clones that covered the sky as they rushed at Zhao Fu. The main body also gave off a ferocious aura as it rushed over. At that moment, Zhao Fu's expression was calm as he put away the Emperor Killing Sword. He stretched out a hand and a rainbow-colored magic formation appeared on his palm. It gave off a piercing rainbow-colored light as a massive celestial's power spread out. Clang, 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 the sound of chains tore through the air as rainbow chains shot out from behind Zhao Fu, giving off immense power as they flooded towards the incoming soul-bonding beast. Chi, 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 the rainbow chains gave off ferocious power as they pierced through the chests of the soul-bonding beasts, killing them and causing them to turn into black aura and dissipate. Countless rainbow-colored chains killed the doppelganger of the soul-bonding beast. Like agile snakes, they turned their heads and shot towards the main body of the soul-bonding beast. The soul-bonding beast looked terrified and turned its body incorporeal again. However, the rainbow-colored chains still bound the soul-bonding beast. This was because the rainbow chains now had the power of a divine bloodline and 6 paths of reincarnation power, as well as a trace of a true celestial's power. The soul-bonding beast's incorporeal ability was useless against Zhao Fu. The soul-bonding beast was bound by the countless chains and gave off furious roars as it continuously struggled, but it was unable to break free from the chains. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he flew to the top of the soul-bonding beast's head and looked at it. The soul-bonding beast's 4 eyes furiously looked at Zhao Fu, and the two of them stared at each other. Now that my right eye has become a supreme treasure of the death race, I'm only missing an eye spirit. Today you'll be my eye spirit. Zhao Fu's voice was cold and domineering, not giving the soul-bonding beast any chance to gather. The gray dot in his right eye started to spin, and Zhao Fu's cross-shaped pupil started to spin as well. A gray vortex appeared in Zhao Fu's eye socket, and its attractive force was 10 or so times greater than before. Roar, roar, roar. The soul-bonding beast furiously roared and continuously struggled, but its massive body was slowly sucked in by Zhao Fu's right eye. In just a few minutes, the soul-bonding beast's 10,000-meter-long body was sucked in by Zhao Fu's right eye. Zhao Fu did not deactivate his celestial mode, and instead sent his power into his right eye to refine the soul-bonding beast into an eye spirit, which was similar to an item spirit. This was because the soul-bonding beast was an extremely rare ghost beast, and its power could be passed down through its bloodline. Zhao Fu had refined the soul-bonding beast into an eye spirit, and in the future, Zhao Fu's children would also have eye spirits in their right eyes, and they would have the same abilities as the soul-bonding beast. Soul-bonding beasts were normally controlled by signing contracts, and Zhao Fu had chosen to forcefully refine them because he had the strength to do so. After more than half a day, Zhao Fu had refined the soul-bonding beast, and it obediently stayed within Zhao Fu's right eye. Its power had become much stronger because of Zhao Fu's terrifying divine bloodline's power. "Husband, you're so strong." He Xiaojie's mother, He Xiaomei, leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace and said with a look of shock and worship, "Mother, you don't know husband's identity yet, but you'll know when you return to Qin City. I guarantee that your jaw will drop. Your daughter won't let you serve a nobody," He Xiaojie said confidently as she smiled. A trace of redness appeared on He Xiaomei's face as she thought about the scene of her and her daughter serving Zhao Fu together. She had planned to enjoy it once and not go to Zhao Fu again, but she could not help but come to Zhao Fu's room every night. Bai Xiaoxi looked at this scene with envy. He Xiaojie had her mother by her side every day, while she could only see her family after returning to her family. In actuality, she had thought about having her mother serve Zhao Fu as well. Her mother would definitely fall in love with Zhao Fu, but she still had her father. If she did that, she would be letting him down, so she did not dare to do so. Chapter 14-15. This book looked quite ordinary, and it had a grey cover with the words "Book of Een Souls" written on it. It was made of ordinary paper, and did not look very special. However, it gave off a very powerful Een energy, which made people feel that it was quite extraordinary. It seemed to be an evil item. Zhao Fu felt great anticipation because the first level had given him a terrifying scroll that could summon 1 billion ghosts, so the second level definitely would not be too bad. After looking at the information in the book, Zhao Fu was delighted. This was because the book recorded a method to nurture Een Soul Beasts, fuse with Een Soul Beasts, and control Een Soul Beasts. Een Soul Beasts that could be nurtured would be at Stage 1, but if they fused with a Stage 1 soldier of the same element, the Stage 1 soldier's strength would rise to Stage 2 and would have the ability to unleash the Soul Beast's abilities. As long as Zhao Fu used this method, Zhao Fu would be able to obtain a large number of Stage 2 soldiers, and their strength would rival that of a royal kingdom in the outer regions. However, there were limitations. One was that the Een Soul Beasts had to be nurtured, and the more Een Soul Beasts he could nurture, the more Een Soul Beasts he could fuse with. The second was that the soldiers he fused with had to have died and become Een soldiers. This was because only pure Een soldiers could fuse with Een Soul Beasts. It was impossible for ordinary Een soldiers, as they had their own lives and were not transformed after dying. Now Qin had 1.2 billion Een soldiers, and if he could nurture a large number of Een Soul Beasts, Qin would be able to create 1.2 billion Stage 2 Een soldiers. If he wanted more Een soldiers, he would need more underworld royal seals. He would need a kingdom seal to convert them. However, because the city lord seal's power had disappeared, the city's power had decreased, and the number of Een soldiers that could be converted had decreased. However, this was an incredibly tempting treasure, and Zhao Fu happily put it away before leading everyone to the next level. This level was completely different from the previous 2 levels. It was a colorful world. The sky was a variety of colors, the ground was also a variety of colors, and the flowers and trees were also a variety of colors. It looked very beautiful, but it also felt very surreal. Just as Zhao Fu and the others were feeling shocked, a golden sword of light giving off a sharp aura shot over, wanting to attack them. Shang Long stretched out his hand and grabbed the golden sword of light. The golden sword of light continuously struggled in Shang Long's hand, releasing sharp sword energy. However, it was unable to break free because Shang Long was a divine realm cultivator. Zhao Fu looked at everyone and asked curiously, "What is this? I feel like a sword spirit, but I don't feel like a sword spirit." Shang Long looked at the golden sword in his hand carefully. The others also looked at the golden sword curiously, not knowing what it was. He Xiaomei thought about it and said, "Husband, this is a kind of pseudo-sword spirit, which is created using a special method. It has the same abilities as a sword spirit, but it is different from a real sword spirit, and its intelligence is generally lower. Hearing this, Zhao Fu nodded and thought of something. He took the golden sword spirit from Shang Long's hand and took out an ordinary iron sword. He fused the golden sword spirit into it, and the process was quite smooth. After fusing with the sword spirit, the iron sword immediately gave off a golden sword chi that was even more powerful than before. It seemed to have a life of its own, and the iron sword's grade greatly increased. A look of delight appeared on Zhao Fu's face. This pseudo-sword spirit was quite a good treasure, and this region was filled with pseudo-spirits. Apart from sword spirits, there were also other spirits, such as saber spirits, hammer spirits, spear spirits, axe spirits. There seemed to be tens of millions of pseudo-spirits, and if they could bring so many pseudo-spirits back to Qin, they would be of great help to Qin. Following this, Zhao Fu ordered everyone to start capturing these pseudo-spirits. Shang Long waved his banner and countless traces of Yin Qi flowed out, turning into countless ghosts. The ghosts leapt at the pseudo-spirits and started to capture them. The pseudo-spirits were not weak and could kill the ghosts that they summoned. The black and white impermanences summoned a black and white Tai Chi symbol, exploding out with a black and white vortex that sucked in the countless pseudo-spirit. Han Lungli and the other women surprised Zhao Fu, and they unleashed a magic formation that captured the pseudo-spirits in the surroundings before temporarily sealing them and throwing them into their spatial rings. Zhao Fu pressed his hand against the ground, and the golden pupil in his left eye quickly spun as a black magic formation appeared. Chains containing ferocious power shot towards the countless pseudo-spirits, dragging them into the sealed region. Even though everyone was wantonly capturing pseudo-spirits, causing many pseudo-spirits to swarm over, a flag spirit that was hundreds of meters tall and led hundreds of thousands of pseudo-spirits over. Shang Long was not shocked, but happy instead. The banner in his hand did not have a suitable artifact spirit, and the banner spirit was undoubtedly the most suitable artifact spirit. Moreover, the power that the banner spirit emitted was far stronger than ordinary artifact spirit. Roar! Shang Long waved his flag and countless traces of Yin Qi flowed out, turning into a terrifying ghostly dragon that gave off a ferocious aura as it charged at the group of pseudo-spirits. At the start, it bit down on the flag spirit and used its tail and claws to attack the other pseudo-spirit. Facing this terrifying ghostly dragon, the other pseudo-spirits did not dare to get close because if they were hit by the dragon's tail, their bodies would turn into motes of light and disappear. On the other side, a few massive staff spirits gave off terrifying power as they flew over. He Xiaojie and the others looked delighted because the morning staffs in their hands did not have any weapon spirits, and the staff spirits were quite suitable for them. Following this, they subdued the staff spirits and fused them into their weapons. Han Lingli and the other women also found suitable pseudo-spirits to subdue. Everyone had made great gains from the historical remnant and grinned as they continued to capture pseudo-spirits. After all, these pseudo-spirits did not have much intelligence. A few days later, Zhao Fu and the others had captured all of the pseudo-spirits they could see, totaling up to 13 million or so. Their gains were quite shocking, and they did not feel that this level was very dangerous, and they easily passed through it. Finally, they came to the entrance to the third level. It was the same as before, and there was a stage with a silver door on it. There was also a stone stage on which there was a rainbow-colored sword. There was naturally a guardian creature around the stage, and this guardian creature was quite special. It was a little lowly who looked to be 5 or 6 years old and wore a princess dress. She had fair skin and looked quite cute. Zhao Fu did not get close because there was a massive magic formation around the stage, which seemed to be a sealing magic formation. "You all stay here, I want to take a look," Zhao Fu said to the others, and they nodded. Chapter 14-16. Who are you? It was a cute little girl, and seeing Zhao Fu walk towards her, she asked in a childish voice. Zhao Fu felt quite startled. He had never thought that this little girl would take the initiative to speak to him. He thought about it before replying. I'm a cultivator who entered the historical remnant. Who are you? The little girl replied without thinking. I'm a sealing spirit, and I'm responsible for sealing that sword on the platform. That sword has terrifying power. Zhao Fu once again felt quite surprised. He had never thought that he would obtain an answer so easily. This little girl had not been prepared at all. Thinking about that, Zhao Fu gave a trace of a smile and acted like a weird uncle as he said, Give that sword to me, and I'll take you out of this world to the outside world, all right? However, the cute little girl shook her head. No, my duty is to seal this place. Zhao Fu gently smiled as he said, You should have been here from the start and never left. You really don't want to go to the outside world and stay here forever. The outside world is much more beautiful and interesting than you think. Hearing Zhao Fu's words, the little girl looked quite curious. She had been here for many years and had been responsible for sealing this place, so she was naturally quite curious about the outside world. As such, she spoke to Zhao Fu first. Zhao Fu smiled as he continued to tempt her. Not only is the outside world interesting, but there are also many children like you. They can be your friends and play with you. The little girl hesitated before saying, Even though I really want to leave, my duty is to seal this place, so I can't leave. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, I'm a trial taker, and I'm in charge of this trial. Now that I've undone the seal, can you leave? However, you can't stop me. The little girl shook her head as she replied, No. My duty is not only to seal but also to prevent others from undoing the seal. Zhao Fu was not angry, nor was he in a hurry. He slowly said, As a cultivator, I will definitely obtain that sword. Your duty is to protect the seal, while my duty is to break the seal. This seal is destined to be undone. Why don't you just stand there and not move? That way we can avoid fighting, and I'll take you away from here to the outside world. Loli hesitated and asked, Can we really do that? Zhao Fu smiled and said, Sure. Actually, you've already done your duty by standing there. Also, you're really a responsible sealing spirit and you're so cute. This is the first time I've seen you. Hearing this, the Loli happily smiled and said, All right then, I'll give you a chance. I'll stand here and let you break the seal, but you have to take me out of here and treat me well. Zhao Fu nodded affirmatively. The little Loli also felt relieved and stood in place. Zhao Fu also stepped forward, intending to break open the sealing array. However, as he approached the sealing array, Zhao Fu felt as though his power was being sealed as well. It kept weakening. Seeing that, Zhao Fu's face turned grim. The little Loli had not done anything yet. This sealing energy was the sealing array's own power, and it was extremely powerful. Zhao Fu wondered how powerful the sealing sword was. After thinking for a while, Zhao Fu left the sealing array's range. He pressed a hand against the ground and his golden pupil spun as a black magic formation appeared on the ground. Chains flew out and shot towards the sealing array's ground. Zhao Fu wanted to use his golden pupil's sealing power to absorb the sealing array's power. This would both undo the seal and increase the golden pupil's power. The chains stabbed into the ground around the sealing array and started to absorb the sealing array's power. Even though this sealing array was powerful, it was not controlled by the little Loli, or else it would have been much more troublesome. A large amount of sealing power was absorbed by Zhao Fu's golden pupil through the chains, but the speed was still quite slow. Following this, Zhao Fu took out the Heaven Sealing Sword. Last time, the Heaven Sealing Sword had absorbed a large amount of sealing power from the outer world, and it was 10 or so times more powerful than before. Zhao Fu threw it out and the chains wrapped around the sword hilt before stabbing it into the sealing array. Boom! The sealing array instinctively reacted and flashed with light, giving off a shocking aura as arcs of lightning appeared. Standing at the sealing array, the little Loli looked quite uncomfortable because she was also affected. After all, this sealing array was connected to her. Even though the sealing array instinctively reacted, it did not resist because the little lowly did not attack. The heaven-sealing sword greedily devoured the sealing power even faster than Zhao Fu. Crack! A muffled sound rang out as a crack appeared on the sealing array. A massive black and gray aura flowed out, causing the temperature in the surroundings to plummet. This aura was extremely cold and contained a trace of divine power. Sensing this aura, Zhao Fu looked quite confused. He was quite familiar with this aura because this was the power of gods and ghosts. Moreover, it was the same as the aura that Guiji gave off. What was going on? The aura that the sealing sword gave off was the same as Guiji's. Zhao Fu could not help but stop and call Guiji over. She hugged the little cat and flew over to Zhao Fu's side as she called out in confusion, "Husband, what is it? What is it? Is the aura leaking out related to you?" Zhao Fu asked as he pointed at the black and gray aura. Guiji looked at the aura and her expression was quite complicated as she replied, "Husband, this aura is very familiar to me. This aura is very familiar to me, it seems to be my aura from before, but why is it sealed here?" Zhao Fu could not answer this because he did not know if this was true or not. He guessed that the sealing sword had a great connection to Guiji, so he had Guiji wait by the side. More and more cracks appeared on the sealing array, and the aura coming out became more and more powerful. Seeing that the sealing array was about to be destroyed, Zhao Fu stopped. Because the sealing array was about to be destroyed, it would greatly affect the little lowly. Zhao Fu said to the little lowly, "What's your name? Stay in that sword for now. That sword's attributes should suit you." Seeing that the sealing array was about to be destroyed, the little lowly did not hesitate and replied, "I'm called Lu Luo." Following this, she flew into the heaven-sealing sword. Zhao Fu then looked at Guiji, who had a serious expression on her face, and said, "When the seal is completely broken, the sealed sword might have something to do with you. You need to be prepared." Guiji nodded earnestly and said, "I understand." Chapter 14-17. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive black-gray aura rushed out from the ground, turning into a massive pillar of aura that shot into the sky. The entire space trembled as a cold and eerie aura spread out, causing the heavens and earth to dim. The multicolored swords that were originally placed on the platform also emitted various rays of light, emitting crisp sword cries. Shing! The sword flew up and turned into a ray of sword light as it came in front of Guiji and spun around her a few times, seeming to size her up. In the end, the sword stopped in front of Guiji with the tip pointing down and the hilt pointing up, giving off a faint light. Lady Ghost couldn't help but reach out to hold the sword. At that moment, the sword disappeared. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as the pillar of aura shot into the sky and flooded into Guiji's body, causing a massive shockwave to ripple out and causing the ground to crack 1,000 meters wide. Zhao Fu was quite startled. The endless black-gray aura madly flowed into Guiji's body, sending out wild gales. Zhao Fu's body was blown back, and he could only unleash his Saint Realm domain. Guiji's aura became more and more powerful, and she quickly jumped from Stage 8 to Saint Realm, then Earth Realm, Heaven Realm, World Realm. As Guiji's aura became stronger and stronger, the wild gales became more and more intense, and the ground could not withstand it anymore and started to crack. In the end, Zhao Fu gulped and looked at Guiji in shock because the aura she gave off had reached the Emperor Heaven Realm. The black-gray aura had all entered Guiji's body. Zhao Fu became wary because an expert of this level was incredibly dangerous. Moreover, he could not use his nation armament in this space, so if Guiji wanted to do anything to him, Zhao Fu would not be able to resist at all. Guiji continued to hold the cat in one hand and the sword in the other as she closed her eyes. The cat in her arms seemed to have absorbed some of the black-gray aura, and its fur became black and 2 black horns grew on its head. Its ghost god bloodline became much more powerful, and its strength rose to Stage 4 or Stage 5. Because of Guiji, it had also obtained some opportunities. Guiji slowly opened her eyes and turned to look at Zhao Fu, who was looking at her nervously, and smiled. What happened to you? Zhao Fu breathed a sigh of relief and asked, What's going on? What does that sword have to do with you? Guiji smiled and nodded. This is the sword I used in the past. It's already Emperor Heaven grade and has sealed some of its power. I've taken it back now. Zhao Fu did not know who had sealed the sword here, and he felt that it was quite a coincidence. If he had not met the Seeking Een Beast and Shang Long, Guiji would not have appeared, and he would not have been able to obtain the power of the sword seal. However, as an Emperor Heaven weapon, the reward for the third level was quite shocking. After all, Emperor Heaven weapons surpassed Earth God armaments, and Earth God armaments were God armaments that godly spirits controlled. Of course, the greatest reward was that Guiji's power had risen to the Emperor Heaven realm. An Emperor Heaven realm expert's power was incredibly terrifying. With the power of 10 worlds, ordinary world realm experts would not be able to retaliate at all. Now that Qin also had an Emperor Heaven realm expert, Zhao Fu did not fear the Aeolian Empire's Emperor Heaven realm expert. In the future, if the Aeolian Empire did anything to Qin, Qin would have the power to resist. Thinking about that, Zhao Fu wanted to loudly laugh. Husband, do you need this sword? Guiji handed over the sword. Even though this sword had once belonged to her, Zhao Fu had obtained it and had not done anything to seal it. Zhao Fu smiled as he said, Then this sword belongs to you. Also, how do you feel after suddenly raising your cultivation by so much? Guiji happily replied, Thank you, husband, I still haven't fully grasped my power yet. Also, I've recovered some of my memories, so I'll be able to control this power soon. Following this, everyone else came up and looked at Guiji in shock. The speed at which Zhao Fu's power increased was simply too shocking. Jumping from stage 8 to the Emperor Heaven realm completely surpassed their imaginations. Zhao Fu took out the Heaven Sealing Sword and said to Lu Luo, the little lowly from before, Stay in here for now. After we leave this historical remnant, I'll let you out. After finally leaving the magic formation's bindings and being able to go elsewhere, Lu Luo happily replied, I got it. However, it's not bad to have Jianli as a sword spirit because I'm a type of artifact spirit. If I don't have anything to carry me, my power will weaken very quickly and my body will also dissipate. You can make me the sword spirit of this sword. Zhao Fu lightly laughed. Another precious sword had been gifted to him. The Heaven Sealing Sword and the Sealing Spirit's power could not be underestimated. After chatting with Lu Luo for a while, Zhao Fu put her into the sword mark, and they pushed open the door and went to the next level. As soon as the door was pushed open, an enchanting fragrance of flowers wafted into his nostrils. What came into view were blue lotus-like flowers. These flowers grew on black vines, and they were only the size of a palm. The black vines covered the ground. The sky was black, and the blue flowers gave off a faint blue light, looking quite beautiful and majestic. Shang Long introduced, Owner, this is the Passion Desire flower. This is the Passion Desire flower, a type of flower that can bewitch people, and it can also stimulate lust. If a man or woman enters it, they will die. If a man or woman enters it separately, they will experience the same hallucination and die from exhaustion. Those vines eat those corpses, and the Passion Desire flower will bloom even more beautiful. This level is filled with Passion Desire flowers and is quite dangerous. I'm afraid that this old man cannot enter with Owner. Hearing Shang Long's explanation, the other women's faces became red because if a man or woman entered, they would die from exhaustion. Shang Long did not want to cause any trouble, as these women were Zhao Fu's. Shang Long did not dare to think too much, so he could only suggest that they stay here in case something happened in the future. If they were not careful, they might even lose their lives. Even though the other women's faces were red, their eyes were gentle and watery. They also wanted to do it with Zhao Fu, so they also wanted to enter and experience that sort of madness. Hearing Shang Long's words, Zhao Fu had all of the women stay where they were. He did not bring Guiji, as she could stay here and properly control her power. The women all nodded in disappointment, and Bai Xiaoxi said worriedly, "Be careful, husband." Chapter 14:18. After entering the 4th level, the flower fragrance flowed out, seeming to have a life of its own as it surrounded Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not dare to be careless, and he first unleashed a defensive barrier before proceeding forwards. As Zhao Fu went deeper and deeper, the fragrance became denser and denser, almost forming a blue mist that surrounded Zhao Fu, wanting to enter Zhao Fu's body. However, with Zhao Fu's Saint Realm domain, the mist was unable to enter at all. After a while, the mist became denser and denser, and it covered Zhao Fu's defensive barrier and started to slowly corrode it. The deeper Zhao Fu went, the denser the mist became, and it even flowed towards Zhao Fu. Under this massive corrosion, the Saint Realm gradually became thinner and thinner, and it seemed that it would soon be corroded. Even though he felt that he had underestimated this place, Zhao Fu still had a method. A massive wave of Yin Qi flowed out, forming a 6 paths defensive barrier around Zhao Fu, and a massive wave of violet devil Qi flowed out, forming a violet dragon inscription barrier. Following this, Zhao Fu released his Saint Realm. With these 3 layers of defense, Zhao Fu did not have to fear at all and quickly advanced. The blue mist seemed to panic and madly flowed towards Zhao Fu. The powerful 3 layers of defense made it so that the mist's corrosion was completely useless, and the vines started to move, wrapping around Zhao Fu. Because there were vines everywhere, Zhao Fu was unable to dodge, and could only be wrapped up by them. The vines were not ordinary and had powerful suction power. Not only could they devour all sorts of power, but they could also devour Zhao Fu's life force. Because of the 3 layers of defense, the vines could only devour Zhao Fu's defensive barrier's power and had not yet absorbed Zhao Fu's life force. Zhao Fu frowned and took out the sadistic killing sword. He slashed out, and a blood-red sword light cut through the vines around the energy barrier. However, the vines grew incredibly quickly and once again attacked towards Zhao Fu. Facing these vines, Zhao Fu took out the royal wood sword and planned to devour the vine's life force. However, he found that these vines were incredibly strange, and the royal wood sword was unable to devour their life force. Zhao Fu could only continuously swing his sword to cut down the incoming vines. He also used the heaven sealing sword and found that it was very effective. This was because the vines cut by the heaven sealing sword would have a sealing power attached to them. The vines would lose all of their power and lay on the ground like ordinary vines, without any threat. Massive roars sounded out from within the blue fog, following which massive creatures started to walk towards Zhao Fu, giving off massive sounds. Zhao Fu saw a group of creatures that looked like flower devils walk over. They had humanoid forms but plant bodies and had hands and feet. What was different from the flower devils was that they did not have flowers on their heads and only vines. These monsters were dozens of meters tall and gave off powerful auras. However, to Zhao Fu, they were not much, and he took the initiative to rush up. The heaven sealing sword gave off sharp sword lights and killed all of the incoming monsters. After killing these monsters, Zhao Fu obtained transparent pearls that were only as big as lychees. They were called desire pearls, but he did not know what they were used for. After putting the desire pearls away, Zhao Fu continued onwards. Within the blue fog ahead, a woman's seductive laughter sounded out. A beautiful woman with a graceful figure, snow-white skin, and a white palace dress walked out of the blue fog. Zhao Fu's expression was quite serious because he felt that this woman was quite dangerous. Moreover, this woman was not an ordinary underworld creature, and was most likely a flower ghost, a ghost that had been transformed from a flower. The flower ghost said flirtatiously, Sir, you're quite handsome and your aura is quite alluring. My daughter has been here for many years and doesn't know about the matters between men and women. Sir, can you teach my daughter and let her experience the joy of doing it? Zhao Fu looked at the flower ghost and could guess her goal. He could not help but lightly laugh as he said, I naturally have no problem with that, but don't regret it. The flower ghost felt quite surprised and had never thought that Zhao Fu would agree so readily. She gave a pleasant laugh as she said, Sir, since you're so forthright, how could my daughter regret it? Please take good care of my daughter, sir. The flower ghost flirtatiously smiled as she looked at Zhao Fu and walked towards Zhao Fu, taking off her clothes. Zhao Fu brought her into his embrace and the two of them started to do it intensely. Soon, the flower ghost, who had been planning to devour Zhao Fu's life force and have Zhao Fu die, had a red face and a weak aura as she pleaded, Sir, my daughter was wrong. My daughter was wrong, please forgive my daughter this once. She was not able to devour Zhao Fu's life force and was instead being devoured by Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu's 6 desires demonic art was not easy to deal with, and it forcefully suppressed the flower ghost's power. In just a short while, the flower ghost could no longer hold on. This was why her face was red and her aura was becoming weaker and weaker. If this went on, she would be sucked dry by Zhao Fu. Even though she enjoyed that feeling in front of death, she could only beg Zhao Fu for mercy. Zhao Fu did not seem to care about her and continued to violate her. The flower ghost wanted to push Zhao Fu away, but she tightly hugged Zhao Fu. Just as the flower ghost felt that she was about to die, Zhao Fu returned her strength to her, and her pale face once again became rosy. The flower ghost gratefully continued to do it with Zhao Fu, and she did not hold back at all. An hour later, the flower ghost lay on the ground with a red face as she powerlessly said, Thank you, sir, for not killing me. Zhao Fu lightly laughed. It's good that you know. Do you know the consequences of wanting to devour my life force? The flower ghost looked flirtatious as she said, Of course I know. Sir, please take me as your maid. I want to serve sir every day. Zhao Fu squatted down and lifted her chin as he said, I want to see your performance now. The flower ghost smiled as she replied softly, Of course I understand. Sir, there are 6 other flower ghosts here. I'll help you lure them here so that sir can enjoy them. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. He was not in a hurry to have her go and instead asked, What's at the center of this space and what's at the core of these vines? The flower ghost looked slightly worried as she said, The center of this space is the passion desire flower's main body, as well as the core of the vines. She's as beautiful as a celestial goddess and has the ability to charm people. Sir, don't forget about me just because of her. Zhao Fu lightly laughed as he replied, Don't worry, I'm not that kind of person. As long as you become my woman, I'll properly love you. Chapter 14-19. What is it, second sister? A 17 or 18-year-old, pure-looking girl asked curiously as she looked at the flower ghost who had called her over. The flower ghost who was called second sister was the flower ghost who had done it with Zhao Fu before. A mature woman with a trace of charm lightly laughed as she said, Something good must have happened. Look at your red face and how beautiful you look. Have you been taken care of by a man? Big sister. No one has ever come here before, let alone a man. A beautiful woman with a big chest and a somewhat sultry appearance said with a hidden bitterness in her voice. Second sister. What is it? If there's nothing else, I'll be going back. A tall and slim woman with a cold expression said coldly. The flower ghost smiled as she said, Today, I brought a man to satisfy you. What? A man? Where? The originally taciturn man's expression became one of delight as he looked around. The cold-looking woman frowned as she said, Second sister, you guys can enjoy yourselves. I have some matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. A quiet-looking girl nodded and prepared to leave. Clang, 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 chains shot out from the surroundings and bound up the cold-looking woman and the quiet-looking woman, following which Zhao Fu walked out. He really is a man. The other women looked at Zhao Fu in shock. They had been here for a long time, but they had never thought that they would actually meet a man. This was the first time. The reserved woman leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace and passionately kissed Zhao Fu. Following this, they started to do it, and the big sister lightly smiled as she walked over. Following this, the other women shyly smiled and joined in. Following this, Zhao Fu did it with the cold-looking woman and the quiet-looking woman for a few hours before hugging the mature woman, who was the big sister, and the flower ghost, who was the second sister. The reserved woman was the fourth sister, and she had already fainted. The cold-looking woman was the fourth sister, and her face was red as she lay on the ground and panted. The quiet-looking woman was the fifth sister, the lively woman was the sixth sister, and the pure-looking woman was the seventh sister. "Sir, we're all yours now, so you have to treat us well." The big sister had a charming look on her face as she leaned on Zhao Fu's chest. Zhao Fu smiled and kissed her. He quite liked this mature big sister. He then said, "I still have to go to the center of the space. You guys stay here for the time being. I'll come and pick you up later." They weren't weak either, but in the following battles they weren't very useful. After all, as the guardian of the fourth level, they were definitely very powerful. The girls responded softly, and then Zhao Fu went straight to the center of the space. There was another platform here, and on it was a silver door. There was another platform, and on the platform there was a palm-sized box. It was unclear what was inside. There was also an alluring figure with snow-white skin and long blue hair. She was as beautiful as a fairy, and she wore a green dress. Zhao Fu looked at this woman in surprise and understood that she was the Passion Desire Flower's flower queen. Zhao Fu had thought that with the Passion Desire Flower's attributes, this woman would be a lewd woman, but she seemed quite normal. The woman in green looked at Zhao Fu with a sharp gaze and pointed at Zhao Fu. The countless vines in the surroundings shot towards Zhao Fu, looking incredibly ferocious. Zhao Fu slashed out with the sadistic killing sword, sending out a blood-red light. However, he was able to cut off a few vines. These vines were incredibly tough. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed and equipped the Emperor killing sword as he lightly cried out, "Sword Master!" Shing! The Emperor killing sword exploded out with an intense sword intent, and Zhao Fu vigorously slashed out. A sharp sword light flashed out, slashing apart countless vines. The woman in green felt quite startled and waved her hand, causing the countless blue flowers on the vines to shoot out with immense power. Zhao Fu immediately unleashed his 3 defensive barriers, but they were all shattered by the countless blue flowers. Zhao Fu's eyes lit up as he looked at Zhao Fu. This caused Zhao Fu's expression to fall, but before he could do anything, the woman in green coldly laughed and raised a hand, grabbing at Zhao Fu. Countless traces of blue fog gave off immense power and flooded into Zhao Fu's body, causing him to cry out in pain. The fog was incredibly corrosive, and after absorbing such a large amount of fog, even with his divine bloodline, he would still be greatly affected. Zhao Fu's eyes lit up as he looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu began to hallucinate, and his body reacted, so Zhao Fu quickly activated his celestial mode. A rainbow-colored light exploded out as rainbow-colored runes appeared around Zhao Fu, blocking the blue fog. Just as Zhao Fu was about to attack, he felt a trace of rainbow-colored aura within his body move. He found that it was the Flower Fairy source energy that the Flower Fairy had left for him, and he had almost forgotten about it. With it, Zhao Fu would not be afraid of the woman in green. Boom! A massive rainbow-colored energy rushed into the sky, turning into a massive flower, and a massive might descended with terrifying power. The surroundings fell silent as the rainbow-colored light shined in all directions. The countless traces of blue fog dissipated, and the countless blue flowers slightly trembled as if they were in fear. The woman in green's body sank, and she uncontrollably half-knelt on the ground. This caused the woman in green to look quite panicked. She had never thought that Zhao Fu would have such power. It was as if he could suppress her, and facing this power, she could not resist at all. The other vines and flowers were also suppressed. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he landed in front of the woman in green. He had never thought that the flower fairy source energy would be so powerful and have such a powerful suppressive effect. The woman in green angrily looked at Zhao Fu and said, "If you don't use this power, you won't be a match for me at all." Zhao Fu lifted her chin, and the woman in green struggled, not wanting to be touched by Zhao Fu. However, Zhao Fu pressed her under his body and started to do it with her. A few hours later, the woman in green's face was red as she pleaded, "Husband, please. I beg you, I want more." Zhao Fu lightly laughed, "And I thought you would be so pure, but you're still so lewd." The woman in green felt quite ashamed. As a passion-desire flower, this was how she was. This was the reason why the other flower ghosts were so lewd. She had sealed her lust, and now that Zhao Fu had undone it, she had become like this. Even though she felt quite ashamed, the woman in green still looked at Zhao Fu pleadingly. Zhao Fu lightly harumphed and satisfied her. Firstly, he had absorbed a large amount of passion-desire aura, and secondly, he could use her to recover his flower fairy source energy. Following this, Zhao Fu opened the box and found a gray seed. After looking at it, he was pleasantly surprised to find that it was the seed of one of the 7 wondrous flowers, the dark night flower. Countless passion-desire flowers started to wither because the woman in green's main body had left. Now she was a flower ghost, and she brought her and the other flower ghosts back to the 3rd level. Chapter 1420. Let's go together. Let's go to the final level. When Zhao Fu returned to the 3rd level, he had already opened the door to the 4th level. He found that the 5th level was a palace, and he felt that it should be the final level. "Husband, you're really too much. Why didn't you stay by your side and take in so many women? Why didn't you introduce them?" Hei Xiaomei pouted as she lay in Zhao Fu's embrace. Even though the women that Zhao Fu had brought back were all rare beauties, such as the black and white impermanences and Han Lingli, they were all top-tier beauties. However, in front of the woman in green, they were all inferior. The woman in green's beauty was something that could not be found in dozens of worlds. No wonder the second big sister had warned Zhao Fu not to be too infatuated with her. With her looks, she could charm any man, and adding on the fact that she had been undone by Zhao Fu, she gave off a seductive aura that could drive men crazy and make them want to obtain her at all costs. Zhao Fu did not know their names, so he looked at them and they started to introduce themselves. The woman in green was Yu Qinglan, and she was the 7 flower ghost sisters. The big sister was Hua Li, the second sister was Hua Yu, the third sister was Hua Mei, the fourth sister was Hua Mei, the fifth sister was Hua Lan, the sixth sister was Hua Hua, and the 7th sister was Hua Yi. Zhao Fu memorized their names and thought of something. He took out the passion-desire pearls that he had obtained from killing monsters and asked, "What do they do?" Yu Qinglan's face was red and her eyes were filled with desire as she replied, "Those are the crystals of the passion-desire flower devils and have intense aphrodisiac effects." Hearing this, Zhao Fu realized what the pearls were and lightly laughed, feeling that he had no use for them. In the end, Zhao Fu and the others came to the 5th level, which was the final level. It was the tall and majestic palace. The walls here were black and there were exquisite palace lanterns hanging on them. The sky above the palace was also black and there was no sound at all, making it seem quite strange and oppressive. Zhao Fu's expression could not help but become serious. The previous levels had not been easy, and the final level definitely would not be easy. He asked Yu Qinglan, "Do you know what is at the final level?" Yu Qinglan hugged Zhao Fu tightly and shook her head. "I'm not sure what it is, but I feel that it's quite dangerous. Husband, be careful." Zhao Fu felt a little helpless when he heard this. She knew it was dangerous, yet she still stuck to him. He just undid her lust, and she became like this. It was as if she was a completely different person. Her strength was slightly stronger than Zhao Fu's, so it should not be weak. After walking for a while, a group of soldiers wearing black armor and giving off powerful auras walked out from the side. Their eyes were filled with eerie light as they looked at Zhao Fu's group. However, they did not attack Zhao Fu and instead formed 2 rows of guard. This made everyone feel quite surprised, and they had thought that these soldiers were charging out to attack them. They had prepared to fight, but they had never thought that it would be like this. However, these soldiers were quite powerful and all of them had Saint Realm cultivation. If they fought, Zhao Fu's group would not be able to deal with them easily. Now that they did not say anything and just stood there, everyone could only stop and hesitate whether or not to advance. If they continued onwards, they definitely would not attack Zhao Fu's group. Otherwise, they would have attacked them long ago. With this scene, their future path would be uncertain. Perhaps it would be better or worse, but Zhao Fu's group still had to advance. At that moment, a white-haired elder with age spots on his face walked out. He first cupped his hands towards Zhao Fu's group and bowed as he said, "Everyone, our master has been waiting for a long time. Our master has been waiting for a long time, please follow this old man." Zhao Fu felt quite startled. Could it be that the owner of this historical remnant is still alive? For such a powerful historical remnant to exist, the owner must be incredibly powerful. Without a higher being's cultivation, things will become quite dangerous. However, from how courteous the other party is, he doesn't seem to have any ill intentions. Zhao Fu thought about it before nodding. Following this, everyone followed the elder and came to a large hall. After walking in, they saw an elder wearing a black dragon robe and a crown. He gave off a dignified aura as he sat on a dragon throne. His aura was incredibly powerful, and he definitely had higher beings' cultivation. However, his body was somewhat illusory and was not corporeal. After walking in, Zhao Fu's group looked at the elder on the dragon throne and slightly bowed. This was out of respect for experts. Moreover, they had obtained many good things here, so they had to be more courteous. Zhao Fu was not someone who thought that because he was Qin Qin's legatee, he could do whatever he wanted. After all, Zhao Fu knew how weak he was. Seeing this, the elder gave a trace of a smile as he said, "I remember that this key was given to 7 little fellows, and now you've obtained it. However, it's evident that you're more outstanding than those 7, which is why I'm pleasantly surprised." Zhao Fu knew who those 7 little fellows were. They were naturally the 7 corpse puppets. This historical remnant belonged to them, but their world had been destroyed by Zhao Fu, so the key had naturally been taken by Qin Qin. Hearing the elder's words, Zhao Fu directly asked, "Why has Senior called for me?" The elder lightly laughed as he said, "Now you understand that I'm not my main body but a trace of my consciousness. I might disappear soon, so I've called for you for 3 things. Zhao Fu looked at the elder in confusion and asked, "What is it?" "If I can do it, I will do my best to help Senior." The elder smiled as he replied, "Don't worry. These things will be beneficial to you, and they'll benefit you, boy. Originally, I was going to choose one of those 7 to be my legatee. However, since you've come and are far more outstanding than them, the first thing is for you to accept my legatee." A smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face. This was a free legatee. How could Zhao Fu refuse? He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Senior." The elder smiled as he said, "The second thing is for you to marry my daughter. After you accept my legatee, you will become the Nether Spirit Empire's legatee. If you marry my daughter, your status will become even more legitimate. My daughter is also as beautiful as a fairy. You won't be disappointed. Xian Er, come out for a moment." A woman wearing a silver-white palace dress walked out. She was tall and slim, had supple skin, jet-black hair, and was peerlessly beautiful. She gave off a noble and cold aura, and she was indeed even more beautiful than Yu Qinglan. After coming out, she slightly bowed to the elder before looking at Zhao Fu with a cold expression. Chapter 1421. The third thing is that I have a historical remnant in the Heaven Awakened World's demon domain, and there's a woman called Emo Chinua there. She's yours, and after you obtain the legacy, her location will be in your mind. Zhao Fu felt quite delighted. He had never thought that there would be a historical remnant, and he would most likely be able to obtain many good things. As for the woman called Emo Chinua, Zhao Fu did not care too much because he did not lack women. These three things were all good things, so Zhao Fu definitely agreed and said gratefully, "Thank you, Senior. I will definitely complete these three things and make the Nether Spirit Empire's legacy even greater. I won't disappoint, Senior." The elder gave a satisfied smile as he said, "Later, someone will take you to a ghost lake, where your constitution will be improved. Xian Er will marry you, and you will obtain my legacy." Zhao Fu nodded in understanding, but he felt quite confused. Why did he have to marry that woman in the end to receive the legacy? It was possible that the elder did not feel at ease with him and was worried that he would not treat his daughter well, so he had her marry him first to see if Zhao Fu was suitable. If he was not suitable, perhaps the elder would not give the legacy to him. The elder who had been leading the way said, "Sir, come with me. Follow me." Zhao Fu had the others wait for him somewhere else before following the elder to a tall stage. This stage was 30 or so meters tall and 10 or so meters wide. There was a 10-meter wide pool on it, and the water was gray and gave off an intense coldness. The surrounding temperature was quite low, and there were many savage ghosts carved into the pool. Zhao Fu followed the elder's instructions and took off his clothes and entered the pool. Even though the water was cold, Zhao Fu could endure it, as Zhao Fu now had the death race's bloodline. The cold pool water gradually nourished Zhao Fu's body and improved Zhao Fu's constitution, and Zhao Fu's yin energy continuously increased. This feeling was quite comfortable, and it was like lying in the water on a hot summer day. However, soon, Zhao Fu sensed that something was off. There was an extremely hidden power stealthily entering Zhao Fu's body. The golden dragon, Di Shi, immediately warned Zhao Fu, "Be careful, there's something wrong with this pool." Zhao Fu opened his eyes and looked at the elder. The elder stood there like a statue, not moving, but he was also looking at Zhao Fu out of the corner of his eyes. Now Zhao Fu understood, and he slightly smiled and looked away. He closed his eyes and continued to absorb the yin energy, but he circulated the 6 paths of reincarnation power to expel that energy from his body. The 6 paths of reincarnation power was indeed a top-tier power in the underworld. Even though that mysterious power was powerful, it was still expelled by Zhao Fu. Just like that, Zhao Fu continuously absorbed the yin energy within the pool and continuously expelled the hidden energy. After a while, Zhao Fu had absorbed more than half of the yin energy, and the pool was almost bottomless. A trace of a smile appeared on the elder's face as he said, "Sir, that's enough. Come up." Zhao Fu opened his eyes and smiled. This was not a fake smile, but a real smile. This pool was indeed a treasure. After absorbing the massive amount of yin energy, Zhao Fu's constitution had improved somewhat. More importantly, his cultivation had almost reached the mortal realm. Of course, Zhao Fu did not absorb that obscure energy. Although he did not know what kind of energy it was, Zhao Fu did not dare to absorb any of it. Following this, Zhao Fu followed the old man to a room. Although it was said that they were getting married, it didn't look like a wedding at all. They just told Zhao Fu to consummate their marriage. Zhao Fu pushed open the door and saw a cold-looking woman sitting on the bed expressionlessly. As Zhao Fu walked in, he was thinking about the pool and those 3 things, so he did not do or say anything to the cold-looking woman. After a while, the cold-looking woman looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and asked calmly, "Why didn't you touch me? Are you not interested in me at all, or is there another reason?" Zhao Fu was afraid that the woman would see through his thoughts, so he smiled and said, "There's no such thing. With how beautiful you are, all men would be moved. If they could do it with you, most men would be willing to die. It's just that you don't seem to like me." A trace of disgust flashed in the depths of the woman's eyes, but it quickly disappeared. She stood up and smiled as she said, "That's just how I am. Please don't mind, husband. I'll serve husband now." Zhao Fu thought to himself and smiled as he nodded. The woman gave a flirtatious smile and pulled Zhao Fu onto the bed. She helped Zhao Fu take off his clothes, and the two of them quickly started to do it. Zhao Fu felt a chill in his heart as he found that a large amount of the woman's energy was entering his body, and some ghost runes were also entering Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu's expression did not change, and he looked as if he was infatuated with the woman as he continuously ravaged her. He did not pay any mind to the obscure power and ghost runes, as they were all expelled by Zhao Fu. Moreover, the six desires' demonic qi continuously flowed into the woman's body, causing her to go crazy. A few hours later, the woman lay on the bed with a red face as she breathed heavily. She lay in Zhao Fu's embrace, and a complicated look appeared in her eyes. She had never thought that doing it with Zhao Fu would be so enjoyable, and she felt as if her body and soul had been conquered by him. "What is it?" Zhao Fu looked at the beautiful woman in his embrace and smiled as he asked. The woman hesitated but still shook her head. The elder's voice sounded out from outside, "Sir, are you done? Master is waiting for you. You can go and receive the legacy now." Hearing this, Zhao Fu smiled and said to the woman in his embrace, "Wife, get up. Your father wants me to go and receive the legacy. Your father wants me to go and receive the inheritance. I'll be with you later." Hearing Zhao Fu's intimate words, the woman's expression became even more complicated. She wanted to say something, but she could not say anything. Zhao Fu got up, put on his clothes, and ignored the woman. He opened the door and followed the elderly man to the palace. The elder happily smiled as he said, "My good son-in-law, come and receive my legacy. In the future, you will be a member of the Nether Spirit Empire, and you will become the center of attention and wield the most powerful power in the world." Within the palace, a magic formation appeared. This magic formation was green and 10 meters wide, and it gave off a massive wave of soul energy. All of the Yin energy in the surrounding space started to gather and flood into the magic formation. Zhao Fu walked into the magic formation, and the elder could not help but look excited. He did not hide it anymore and leapt at Zhao Fu, instantly entering Zhao Fu's body. Chapter 1422. The elder who had just entered Zhao Fu's body cried out in shock, and Zhao Fu did not hide it anymore as he coldly laughed and said, "Father-in-law, are you satisfied with my body? If you take over my body, your power in the future will be unimaginable." Hearing Zhao Fu's words, the elder's expression fell and he coldly called out, "Boy, are you satisfied with my body? However, do you think you're a match for me? You're still too inexperienced. Even though I'm just a trace of a remnant soul, I was once on the verge of entering the half-step celestial realm. Prepare to die now. I'll properly use your body, and I'll properly enjoy those women you brought." Boom! A massive power exploded out as boundless green light shot out from Zhao Fu's body, seeming to pass through Zhao Fu's body. The green magic formation quickly spun, and a massive wave of ghostly energy entered Zhao Fu's body. The palace was filled with green light, and the air seemed to freeze. It was quite oppressive, and the temperature fell by tens of degrees, seeming to be able to freeze people. The powerful green light continuously flowed into Zhao Fu's body, and the elder rushed towards Zhao Fu's head. Because the soul was in the head, if the elder could take over Zhao Fu's head, he would be able to take over Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu coldly laughed as he said, "Old man, do you think I'm not prepared? Do you think I'm easy to deal with? Do you think I'm easy to deal with? Without those two powers controlling me, What chance do you have of taking over my body? Celestial mode. Activate. Boom. A rainbow-colored light exploded out from Zhao Fu's body as rainbow-colored runes appeared around him. The rainbow-colored light started to resist the green light, and Zhao Fu's soul also became rainbow-colored. Celestial mode not only increased the power of the body, but it also increased the power of the soul. The elder looked slightly panicked as he called out, "Celestial mode?" Zhao Fu's celestial mode was actually celestial mode, and because it had fused with a trace of celestial source energy, it was called celestial mode. Moreover, it was many times more powerful than celestial mode. Sensing the power coming from Zhao Fu's soul, the elder felt that it was quite difficult, but he had no way out. Boom! A powerful aura burst out from Zhao Fu's body, and Zhao Fu used his power to form a set of battle armor that gave off an incredibly terrifying aura as it rushed towards Zhao Fu's head. Zhao Fu mocked coldly, "Old man, now I will send you to reincarnate as soon as possible." 6 paths of reincarnation. Activate. A massive wave of cold and eerie energy flowed out as 6 gray vortexes appeared around Zhao Fu's body. The 6 vortexes formed a gray magic formation, and a massive suction force exploded out towards the elder. The old man shouted angrily, "Kid! Don't think that your level of 6 paths of reincarnation is enough to deal with me." Spirit Guard. Ghosts flew out from the elderly man's body and floated around him, giving off great power and forming a green energy barrier that blocked off the suction force that Zhao Fu gave off. Zhao Fu's expression was cold as the ghost world pearl appeared, and he started to use the 6 paths demon image's power, causing the magic formation to explode out with even greater suction force. The elder was quite startled, and he now understood why Zhao Fu could use 6 paths of reincarnation power to seal the 6 paths demon images within his body. He did not know how he had done it, but seeing the defensive barrier crack, the elder could only harden his heart. "Boy, you forced me to do this. I'll show you what a higher being's power is like. Don't think that you can defeat me." Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the elder's body slowly melted and turned into a green orb of flames. Countless traces of green light spread out, passing through the historical remnant and reaching the outside. The heavens and earth started to change as clouds swirled and the world's source energy madly gathered. A power that seemed to be able to seal all things in the heavens and earth exploded out. The experts guarding the entrance felt their bodies sink and their expressions fell as they looked into the historical remnant. There was a higher being's power spreading out, and seeing the sky covered by green light, they understood that this was not the power of an ordinary higher being. The elder had turned into a green orb of flames, and he was burning his source energy, which was incredibly harmful to him. However, as long as he could suppress Zhao Fu and obtain Zhao Fu's body, it would all be worth it. He found that Zhao Fu's body was a supreme treasure. Now, Zhao Fu's body could not move at all, and his soul was sealed by a powerful energy. His bloodline became cold, and his body was filled with green light. All of his power was suppressed, and he could not resist at all. Zhao Fu was greatly startled. The 6 paths of reincarnation had been destroyed by the elder, and he was now trying to invade Zhao Fu's head. At that moment, Zhao Fu decided to see if the elder could really take over his body. Boom! A massive power spread out, causing wild gales to sweep out in all directions. The palace was unable to withstand this, and the tiles, doors, and wooden walls were all blown away. A 4-colored aura flame ferociously rushed into the sky. The other women felt that something was off and hurried over, but the soldiers tried to stop them, and the 2 sides started to fight. Outside the historical remnant, the sky suddenly darkened, causing everyone to have a bad feeling. Soon, the sky became jet black, as if all of the light had been absorbed, and it was incredibly deep and oppressive. A star that gave off a blood-red light and an aura of disaster, a star that gave off a golden light and an emperor's aura, a star that gave off a gray light and an eerie aura, and a star that gave off a violet light and an emperor's aura slowly descended into the sky. The massive might seemed as if even the heavens and earth could not withstand it, and it continuously trembled. The sky was filled with light, and all creatures fell into terror. The experts at the entrance looked incredibly shocked as they looked at the stars giving off intense light in the sky. Those were 4 Emperor stars, and they were the human race's Emperor star, the death race's Emperor star, and the devil race's Emperor star. Just what was going on? Why were 4 Emperor stars descending at the same time and giving off the same aura? This meant that they belonged to the same person, but how could a single person have 4 Emperor stars? Also, why did that nether Emperor star look like the Emperor star that had suppressed the underworld? Could it be that this Emperor star was the same one from before? Everyone felt quite confused and did not dare to be sure, but in the next moment they received confirmation. Roar, 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 roar. 6 terrifying roars tore through the sky and spread out like thunder, sounding throughout the entire underworld. Because of those 6 terrifying roars, the underworld's Yin-Chi once again became chaotic. Chapter 14:23. Hearing these 6 terrifying cries, everyone was able to confirm that the Death Race Emperor star that had appeared before was the one in front of them. They had never thought that there would be such a terrifying Emperor star, and it was already quite shocking. Now there were 4 in front of them. No one would have thought of this, and if they had not personally seen it, they would not have believed it to be true. It was as if they had unintentionally grasped a great secret. Within the historical remnant, within Zhao Fu's body, the elder was incredibly shocked as he looked at the 4 Emperor stars in the sky. Each Emperor star contained a massive amount of fate, and if anyone tried to take over his body, they would suffer a terrifying fate backlash. However, there were 4 in front of him. Even though the elder had once had higher being cultivation, he was given a big fright and quickly cried out, "Boy, wait! Perhaps we can coexist peacefully." However, Zhao Fu's heart was cold, and killing intent appeared in his eyes. He did not trust the elder and did not have the ability to control him. If he did not take this opportunity to kill him now, there would be endless problems in the future. Boom! The 4 Emperor stars gave off intense starlight, forming 4 pillars of starlight that gave off immense power and terrifying sounds as they landed on Zhao Fu's body. A massive amount of Emperor star power flowed into Zhao Fu's body, and under this power, the elder howled before falling silent. Following this, the green orb of flames gradually dissipated, and Zhao Fu quickly devoured this power. A while later, Zhao Fu once again opened his eyes, which gave off a green light, and a trace of a smile appeared on his face. Now, Zhao Fu's cultivation had reached the earth realm, and he still had a trace of a higher being's source energy within his body. This trace of a higher being's source energy was already quite weak, and it had been greatly consumed by the elder. It had also suffered a backlash from the Emperor star's fate. However, Zhao Fu had also obtained some of the elder's memories and some of the skills he had used. Hearing the sounds of fighting outside, Zhao Fu called out, "Everyone, stop!" The people fighting immediately stopped and looked at Zhao Fu. Shang Long and the others did not know what had happened, and when Zhao Fu told them to stop, they did not attack. On the other side, they were not sure if it was Zhao Fu or their master who had taken over the body. However, because it was possible that he was their master, they obeyed Zhao Fu's orders. However, they looked at Zhao Fu suspiciously because the process of the old man taking over Zhao Fu's body had not gone smoothly, and it was possible that he would fail. Facing their doubtful gazes because Zhao Fu had absorbed a portion of the elder's power and memories, he gave off his aura and said, "I'm Ming Yu." Their side also relaxed because the aura that Zhao Fu emitted, the tone of voice, and the manner in which he spoke, all indicated that he was their master. Shang Long's side did not panic because the restrictions that Zhao Fu had left in their bodies were still there. This meant that Zhao Fu was fine, but because he did not know what had happened, he looked quite confused. The cold-looking woman came to Zhao Fu's side and called out coldly, "Father." Zhao Fu knew this woman's name. She was Ming Lingxuan, and she had been the Nether Spirit Empire's crown princess. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. 5 extremely beautiful women came to Zhao Fu's side. They all happily called out, "Your Majesty." One was voluptuous and gave off a noble and graceful aura. She was the Nether Spirit Empire's Empress, Ming Yu. One was tall and slim and gave off a sexy aura. She was the Nether Spirit Empire's imperial concubine, and she was called Yin Huiye. One had a fiery figure and a lewd expression. She was also a concubine, and she was called Gong Dan Dao. There were also 2 former Nether Spirit Empire concubines. One had a slim figure and gave off a virtuous aura. She was called Hua Xian. The other had a mature figure and gave off a gentle aura. She was called Yi Fang. Because Zhao Fu had obtained some of the Elder's memories, he knew some things about the Nether Spirit Empire. The Nether Spirit Empire had once been an empire, but it had still been destroyed by a few terrifying factions in the underworld. Back then, only a small portion of the Nether Spirit Empire had hidden in the historical remnant and turned into ghosts, which was why they had survived until now. However, the Nether Spirit Empire's king, who was that elder, had only left behind a very weak remnant soul. The large factions would not let him off, and it was a miracle that he had left behind a trace of his remnant soul. That was why there were so few concubines and soldiers, and because of the battle just then, many of them had died or been injured. In order to survive, they had lost much of their strength, or else they would not have been able to live for so long. On Zhao Fu's side, Guiji was an Emperor Heaven Realm expert, and Yu Qinglan was extremely powerful. The others were not weak either. Now they could only trust that their master had taken over Zhao Fu's body, or else they would definitely die. They were not a match for Zhao Fu's side at all. "Your Majesty, now that you have a real body, you have to properly take care of us." The fiery figure and lewd Gong Dandao hugged Zhao Fu, as she said hungrily. As the Nether Spirit Empire's king, the elder greatly liked women. He had over 1,000 concubines, but now he only had 5. They had been taken care of by the elder day and night, so they had quite a high demand for women. Even the dignified and graceful Empress Ming Yu's eyes became watery as she looked at Zhao Fu with a lustful expression. The 4th level's passion desire flowers had been nurtured by the Nether Spirit Kingdom's king, and he had used many passion desire pearls to defile many women. Zhao Fu looked at the beautiful women around him and did not mind. He brought them into a room and called Ming Lingxuan over. Under Zhao Fu's body, the 5 beautiful women had become lewd women, and Zhao Fu had ravaged Ming Lingxuan. Zhao Fu did not feel any pity because Zhao Fu did not need to hide anything anymore. This woman had dared to harm him, so she had to be punished. "Father, I was wrong." In the end, Ming Lingxuan could not take it anymore and cried as she begged Zhao Fu for mercy, and only then did Zhao Fu let her off. Even though Zhao Fu had ravaged her, she did not discover Zhao Fu's identity. After all, her father had ravaged her before, which was why she was so cold and disdainful towards men. After enjoying them, Zhao Fu did it with the other women from before. Only now did Ming Yu and the other women discover Zhao Fu's identity. Their men had not taken over Zhao Fu's body and had instead been killed by Zhao Fu. However, apart from looking sad, they did not do anything else. After all, Zhao Fu had planted restrictions in their bodies, and they enjoyed doing it with Zhao Fu. "Get up. Take me to the Nether Spirit Empire's treasury." Zhao Fu got up and put on his clothes as he looked at the crying Ming Lingxuan and said coldly. The Nether Spirit Empire had kept very few treasures, and even though they were only a small portion, they were still very important to Qin. Chapter 1424. Ming Lingxuan's face was covered with tears. Because she had just been ravaged by Zhao Fu, her body was quite weak, and there were some wounds on her. She looked quite pitiful and weak, and it was quite difficult for her to put on her clothes. She got off the bed, and after taking a few steps, her legs gave out and she almost fell to the ground. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and hugged her. He felt that his attitude had been quite bad and that he had ravaged her. Seeing how pitiful she looked, he asked caringly, "Are you all right? If you're fine, just stay here and tell me the location of the treasury and how to open it." Ming Lingxuan looked at the man who had ravaged her, and she could not help but burst into tears. Part of it was because of Zhao Fu, part of it was because of how her father had ravaged her, and part of it was because of how much she had suffered. Now, she was no longer afraid of Zhao Fu and hugged Zhao Fu as she cried in pain, her tears drenching Zhao Fu's clothes. Zhao Fu did not understand why she was crying and did not know how to comfort her. It seemed that Zhao Fu had never comforted a woman before, and he just lightly hugged her. Only after a while did Ming Lingxuan stop crying and look at Zhao Fu with her red and swollen eyes as she said, "I'm sorry, I harmed you first. I deserved it just then, so you don't need to be so good to me." Zhao Fu understood her words and understood what had happened. It was that elder who had forced her to do that and used her as a material for a forbidden technique. He had only treated her like that because he was angry and wanted to vent it on her. However, Zhao Fu did not have time to care about such things. He hugged Ming Lingxuan and flew into the sky, asking her to tell him where the treasury was. Ming Lingxuan lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and looked quite embarrassed. She pointed in the direction of the treasury and told him about a few traps before coming to a secret room. There was a silver door in front of them that was 10 or so meters tall. There were many ghosts carved on it, and it gave off a massive aura. There was no key, but it evidently could not be opened. "Husband, this door can only be opened by people with our imperial bloodline. Otherwise, ordinary higher beings won't be able to break it," Ming Lingxuan explained shyly in Zhao Fu's embrace. Hearing this, a trace of a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face. Since it was so difficult to open, it meant that the things inside were extremely precious. Carrying Ming Lingxuan to the door, Ming Lingxuan placed a hand on the silver door and poured energy into it. Rumble! The huge silver door gave off a faint silver light and moved by itself. With a muffled sound, it automatically opened. As soon as the door opened, a large amount of treasure light shot out, and Zhao Fu hugged Ming Lingxuan as he walked in. Looking at the treasures inside, he felt quite shocked. As expected from an empire's treasury. Even though it was only a small portion, it was still quite shocking. First of all, there were mountains of coins. Moreover, there were mountains of coins. At the very least, there were trillions of gold coins. There were also hundreds of thousands of legendary equipment, tens of thousands of epic equipment, thousands of saint weapons, and countless jewels and tools. Moreover, these were just the ordinary items. Within the treasury, there was a stone table with 5 boxes on it. The boxes were made of gold and embedded with all sorts of gems, and they looked quite valuable. Zhao Fu put down Ming Lingxuan, and by now, Ming Lingxuan had recovered some strength and leaned against Zhao Fu's body. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand and opened one of the boxes, and a gray jade appeared before Zhao Fu. The gray jade was 15 centimeters long and had a rectangular shape. There was a lifelike ghost dragon carved on it, and it gave off a faint light. The material it was made of was abnormally cold. Zhao Fu looked at it and found that it was the Nether Empire's Legacy Stone. The Nether Empire's Legacy Stone had reached Saint grade, and it was a rare top-tier cultivation technique. However, it required a vessel to cultivate it. Anyone who held this stone would be able to learn a Saint-grade cultivation technique. However, the prerequisite was that one had to be a member of the Nether Empire's imperial family, and their bloodline had to be pure. This was incredibly important to the Nether Empire, but it was not very attractive to Zhao Fu because Zhao Fu did not have the Nether Empire's bloodline. Moreover, only Ming Lingxuan had the Nether Empire's bloodline, no one else did. After putting away the Legacy Stone, Zhao Fu opened the second item. It was a silver hexagonal metal stone that gave off a faint silver light and gave off a powerful Yin energy. After looking at it, Zhao Fu felt incredibly delighted because this metal stone was a Yin soul beast's heart, and it was a top-grade Yin soul beast's heart. It was something necessary for nurturing Yin soul beasts, and with it, Zhao Fu would be able to nurture even more Yin soul beasts, allowing Qin to have more Stage 2 soldiers. After opening the third treasure box, a command medallion appeared before Zhao Fu. This command medallion was as big as a palm and was black. It seemed to be made of wood, and there was a moon carved on it, and it gave off dense demonic qi. After looking at it, Zhao Fu found that this was a historical remnant command medallion, and it could open a historical remnant. Zhao Fu could not help but think of what the elder had said to him before, saying that there was a historical remnant in the demon domain. Because Zhao Fu had not obtained any memories of it, he had thought that it was fake. He had never thought that it was true, and this command medallion could open the historical remnant. Zhao Fu opened the fourth treasure box, and found that it was a small porcelain bottle that was only as big as a thumb. He was not sure what was inside. After looking at it, Zhao Fu found that it was a type of 10,000-year Yin liquid that could be used to nurture flowers. It could speed up the growth of flowers by 3,000 years, and it could be used to nurture the dark night flower. Zhao Fu felt that these things were quite useful, and they corresponded to the rewards from before. Could it be that the elder had not wanted to give these things to others from the start? After opening the final treasure box, Zhao Fu found a circular jade disc that was covered with runes. It looked quite profound, and it was most likely a treasure. However, after looking at it, Zhao Fu looked quite shocked because this was a magic formation that could rival the 6 great heaven-defying magic formations. If it wasn't for the fact that it was incredibly difficult to set up and required extraordinary materials, it would definitely be ranked as the 7 great heaven-defying magic formations. This magic formation was called the Sealing Heaven Suppressing Earth Formation, and it was used to seal fate, lock down heaven's secrets, and sever the heavens and earth. It required thousands or even tens of thousands of nation armaments that had already been refined. After setting up this formation, one's world would become independent from the Heaven-Awakened world and would no longer be controlled by the Heaven-Awakened world. Moreover, it would not lose any fate, and it could also lock down heaven's secrets, making it impossible for anyone to divine its location. This allowed one's world to not be controlled by the Heaven-Awakened world. Just thinking about how even celestials could not escape from the Heaven-Awakened world's control, one could imagine how terrifying this formation was. As expected from something that could rival the 6 great heaven-defying magic formations. Boom! Chapter 1425. Zhao Fu did not hesitate and put away everything in the treasury. He called over the others and planned to leave this place. Based on how much the space was shaking, the historical remnant would be destroyed soon. Someone with such power was not someone Zhao Fu could defend against. Zhao Fu's eyes lit up. However, Zhao Fu felt quite troubled because there was a large group of people guarding the entrance of the historical remnant. How were they going to escape? Husband, there are 2 secret passageways in the historical remnant to prevent such a situation from happening, Ming Lingshuan said as she lay within Zhao Fu's embrace. Zhao Fu felt quite delighted and looked at everyone gathered here as he said, "Let's quickly leave then. Remember, your safety is the most important." Everyone nodded. Following this, Zhao Fu and the others followed Ming Lingshuan to a secret passageway and stepped onto a teleportation channel to leave this place. Not too long after Zhao Fu and the others left, a massive explosion sounded out within the historical remnant. A few massive cracks appeared, and the aura from outside flowed in. The historical remnant was forcefully blasted open, and 10 or so people appeared in the sky above the historical remnant. These 10 or so people gave off terrifying auras, and they were undoubtedly higher beings. When the elder released his source energy, many higher beings sensed that some of them had enmity with the Nether Spirit Empire. However, even more people were attracted over by the 4 Emperor stars. Personally seeing the 4 Emperor stars, they were incredibly shocked, especially since the Nether Emperor star had a great connection to the underworld's 6 paths demon images. They understood how important this person was, so they forcefully broke open the historical remnant, wanting to find that person and see just what kind of terrifying person he was. After blasting open the historical remnant, everyone searched through it but did not find anything, so they could only leave in disappointment. News quickly spread throughout the underworld, and everyone looked incredibly shocked. They had never thought that a person could have 4 Emperor stars, and they were the human race's Emperor star, the death race's Emperor star, and the devil race's Emperor star. Was this really possible? After hearing about this, the underworld's large factions gathered together to discuss this. The Yama family's people were all dressed in dragon robes and had crowns on their heads, and they looked incredibly ferocious. The Yama family was a top-tier faction in the underworld, and they were even a bit stronger than the Black and White Impermanence family. A cold-faced Yama said to the others, "Who is this person? Since he had the sovereign Emperor stars of 3 races, didn't that mean he had the sovereign bloodline of 3 races? Furthermore, his Nether Emperor star has already appeared twice, and it carries an aura that suppresses the underworld. He is probably the Yen family's greatest enemy." A chubby Yama king frowned and said, "The underworld has a total of 9 Nether Emperor stars, and they are scattered among the various large factions. This Nether Emperor star is not from the underworld and is related to the 6 paths demon images. Every time it appears, it will cause the 6 paths demon images to become furious. I'm afraid that this person will cause a catastrophe in the underworld." The other Yang Wang said seriously, "I agree. No one in history has been able to make the 6 paths demon images so furious. If the 6 paths demon images really go out of control, the underworld will be plunged into chaos." A skinny Yama king said seriously, "Let's find this kid and find out who he is. If he's useful to us, let's keep him. If he's useless, we have to kill him. We can't let him live." The main family of the Black and White Impermanences were all dressed in black and white, giving off powerful auras. They sat at the front of the hall while a group of people knelt below. A white impermanence sitting at the front said coldly, "Is there still no sign of that person? It's useless. I ordered you to search for him last time, and now that we know where he is, you still can't find him in the underworld." A black impermanence laughed as he said, "That person isn't an ordinary person. How could he be caught so easily? With his 4 Emperor stars and the mysteriousness he gives off, no higher being would dare to not be interested. I heard that 10 or so higher beings nearby went to look for him, but they were unable to find him." A black impermanence frowned and said, "I don't know why, but I feel quite uneasy. I feel that that person has some sort of connection with our Black Impermanence family. I don't know if this feeling is correct or if it's a blessing or a curse." A handsome-looking white impermanence lightly laughed and said, "You don't have to worry so much. That person only has great potential, but he's still quite weak and can't affect us at all. I feel that if he's capable, he can be the husband of our clan's child." The Meng family was a top-tier family in the underworld, and it was passed down from Granny Meng. It had extremely strange abilities, and the Meng family was led by women. They were mostly women, and their bloodlines were the purest and most powerful. Under the influence of that bloodline, it was almost impossible for them to give birth to male children. Within the hall, many women sat around, and one of them with an alluring figure laughed as she said, "Heavens! If the sovereign bloodline of the 3 races marries into the Meng family, just how powerful will the female child's bloodline be? It's simply unimaginable." Another flirtatious woman replied, "That's right. The sovereign bloodline of the 3 races seems almost impossible. I wonder how that person did it. I'm guessing that person's bloodline is at least divine bloodline." A mature woman said, "I think so too. His bloodline should be Saint-tier." If we can get him to marry into our Meng family and give birth to a baby girl, with our Meng family's full support, that baby girl will definitely become an immortal. A beautiful woman said, "We're already searching everywhere for that person, but we don't know where he escaped to. It'll be quite difficult to find him." In front of the hall, there were people wearing monk robes but with long hair sitting cross-legged on cattails. Their auras were incredibly powerful, and all of them were experts. This was another large faction in the underworld, and it was even more terrifying than the Yen family. After all, this was the Xitigarbha family. A benevolent-looking elder said worriedly, "This person is the Bane Star, and he has the support of the three races' Emperor Stars. In the future, this person will most likely cause a massive disaster, which will be a disaster for the entire world." A cold-looking young man said, "Right now, the people of the world are all focused on the three races' Emperor Stars and have forgotten about that Bane Star. They don't know that this Bane Star is the most dangerous thing, and we definitely can't let this person live. For the sake of the world, we should kill him at all costs." A bearded middle-aged man agreed, I think so too. Everyone, don't forget about the 6 paths demon images. Before this person's power has fully matured, he already has the ability to cause a disaster. When he fully matures, he'll be even more terrifying. Chapter 1426. As the various factions discussed Zhao Fu's matter, more news reached their ears. After all, the matter of someone having 4 Emperor Stars was unprecedented and shook the world. Soon, they found out that the 4 Emperor Stars had first descended in the Heaven Awaken world. Moreover, they had descended one by one, causing a massive commotion in the Heaven Awaken world. Many factions paid attention to him, and many people started to search for him. After hearing about this, the underworld factions realized that this person was not a nameless person. So he had already caused such a huge commotion in the Heaven Awaken world. No wonder he could cause such a commotion in the underworld. Now, the underworld factions were even more curious about that person's identity. Even an idiot would understand how terrifying that person would be in the future. He would definitely be a terrifying figure whose name would shake the heavens and earth. In fact, some people wanted to keep that person in the underworld. After all, that person had the Death Race's supreme bloodline and supreme Emperor Star, so he could be considered a part of the underworld. They wanted him to serve the underworld and not return to the Heaven Awaken world. After hearing about the commotion that person had caused in the Heaven Awaken world, the underworld factions started to ferociously search for that person. The Xitigarbha family had already agreed to kill that person, but they did not stupidly leak this information. That person had already become a massive threat, and if they foolishly leaked this information, not only would they not gain anything, but they might also receive hostility from him. In fact, their families might even suffer heavy losses at his hands. As such, they did not dare to leak this information, and everything became secret. If they were not confident, they would not act at all. Zhao Fu did not know about any of this. The teleportation channels in the secret passageway could teleport people extremely far away, as they had been built to hide from higher beings. Everyone's bodies blurred, and the scene quickly changed. Soon, they appeared somewhere else. Because they had been teleported quite far away, everyone felt quite dizzy and nauseous. Zhao Fu was the least affected, and he looked at everyone around him as he asked caringly, "Are you all right?" Everyone stayed where they were and quickly recovered, and they shook their heads to indicate that they were fine. Following this, Zhao Fu planned to continue onwards because he felt that this place was not safe. It was possible that people would chase them here, so they could not stay here for long and had to leave as soon as possible. "Husband, there's someone there," Yu Qinglan, who was hugging Zhao Fu, said as she pointed to the right. Zhao Fu looked in the direction that Yu Qinglan was pointing. Under an elegant pavilion on a hillside, 7 people with extraordinary bearings were sitting and talking cheerfully and wittily. Sensing their auras, Zhao Fu's expression became somewhat serious. These people's cultivations were incredibly powerful, and Zhao Fu did not know where they had been teleported to. Zhao Fu did not want to cause trouble, so he said, "Don't worry about them. Let's hurry up and leave this place." Everyone quickly responded and planned to leave this place as soon as possible. However, the people in the pavilion had already noticed Zhao Fu's group. A rough-looking young man with a muscular figure smiled as he said, "That boy is quite lucky to have so many beautiful women with him. 2 of them are as beautiful as celestial fairies. How enviable!" A handsome-looking young man lightly laughed as he said, "Brother Yen, you must be joking. With your status, you only need to say the word and countless women will willingly offer themselves to you. Why do you need to be envious of him? Qingya, there are also 3 women from your clan among them," a mature and extremely beautiful woman said in a flirtatious manner. The woman called Qingya wore white clothes and looked as beautiful as a celestial maiden. Her hair was half white and half black, and she calmly looked over them as she said softly, I wonder which branch family he is. I don't have any impression of him." A fair-looking young man wearing monk robes said somewhat seriously, "I feel that that person is quite extraordinary. The aura he gives off is quite dangerous and contains an ominous aura of disaster. Why don't we call him over and ask him about his identity? I'm quite interested in him. There doesn't seem to be anyone like him in the underworld." A young man wearing green robes with dragon inscriptions and giving off a noble aura said as he smiled, "Haha, what's wrong with that? With our statuses, it's his honor to meet us. I, on the other hand, am interested in his woman." A purple-robed young man with an evil aura said with a smile. Following this, he arrogantly said to Zhao Fu and the others, "Do you people know who we are? Since you've seen us, why don't you kneel and greet us?" Hearing this, Zhao Fu slightly frowned and did not feel too interested. Just as everyone prepared to fly into the sky, the evil-looking young man felt quite angry. Seeing that his words had been ignored, the others felt quite surprised as well. There was no one in the underworld who did not know the 7 of them, and yet that person had dared to ignore them. Perhaps it was because the people in the underworld did not know them. The evil-looking young man said coldly, "I'm the Xie family's son, Xie Yu. Come over and kneel and apologize to me and have your women serve me for a night, and I'll spare your life." Now that Xie Yu had announced his name, almost everyone in the Xie family knew about him. Ordinary people would have been scared witless and kneeled in front of him upon hearing his name. Everyone else calmly smiled. No matter how powerful that person's family was, facing a top-tier family in the underworld, he had to submit. They were waiting to see how that person would respond, and without even thinking, they knew that everyone would lower their heads and flatter him. Scram! That person's reply was only a single word, and it was filled with power. This caused everyone else to look quite confused, while Xie Yu looked quite furious. Swish! Xie Yu stretched out a finger and a wave of violet evil qi flowed out, turning into a violet tentacle that ferociously shot towards Zhao Fu. It was incredibly fast and arrived before Zhao Fu in an instant. Bang! Zhao Fu took out the sadistic killing sword and slashed out a sharp sword light, destroying the incoming tentacle and causing it to turn into countless traces of yin qi and dissipate. Everyone felt quite surprised. They were all divine realm experts, and their attacks were not something that an Earth-world cultivator could easily block. They became even more interested in Zhao Fu. Xie Yu looked quite furious as he took out a sword and gave off a massive aura as he turned into a ray of light and shot towards Zhao Fu. Seeing Xie Yu rush over, Zhao Fu turned and said to the others, "Hurry up and leave this place. Head to the previous location." The women wanted to say something, but Zhao Fu had already started to face Xie Yu. In order to not make trouble for Zhao Fu, they could only quickly leave. Boom! Chapter 1427. Shameless. You're only a match for me after using your nation armament, Xiaoyu said mockingly as he looked at Zhao Fu disdainfully. Zhao Fu did not have time to pay attention to him. After reaching stage 2, the difference in power between stages was too great. Earth Realm experts could only use heaven and earth power, while Divine Realm experts could control 3 worlds' power. If he did not use his nation armament, Zhao Fu naturally would not be a match for him. However, his main goal was to escape, so Zhao Fu did not have time to pay attention to him. Boom! The 6 gray dots in Zhao Fu's right eye quickly spun, and his cross-shaped pupil also spun. A massive amount of yin qi flowed out of his eye, seeming to cover the sky and the sun. The aura in the surroundings became cold and chaotic. Roar, roar, roar. Countless people's yin qi condensed into countless ghosts that gave off terrifying cries. They savagely looked at Xiaoyu and flooded towards him, wanting to devour him. Sensing Zhao Fu's aura, everyone else's bodies froze and they looked shocked as they looked at each other. Facing such a large number of ghosts, Xiaoyu also looked quite shocked. A violet snake stretched out from his arm, and Xiaoyu swung his sword. The massive snake stretched out its massive body and opened its foul-smelling mouth, exploding out with a massive suction force as it devoured the incoming ghost. The massive snake was abnormally ferocious and was incredibly fast. It agilely devoured everything in its surroundings, making it so that not a single ghost could get close. However, there were simply too many ghosts that Zhao Fu had summoned, and Xiaoyu was unable to quickly deal with them. As such, Zhao Fu could take this opportunity to leave. However, just as Zhao Fu was about to leave, the other people in the pavilion stopped Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu frowned and asked coldly, "What is the meaning of this? Why are you stopping me? Or do you want to help him?" The coarse-looking young man who had spoken first smiled and said, "Don't misunderstand, this is a matter between the two of you. We won't interfere. However, we are surprised that you have the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Please explain the reason. Also, I am Yen 3 from the Yen family." The second person to speak was a handsome-looking young man. He smiled as he said, "I am Tai Luwen from the Tai clan, and I am also very interested in your 6 paths of reincarnation power. Would you be able to tell me the reason? I will definitely reward you greatly." The mature and extremely beautiful woman said in a flirtatious voice, "Sir, you don't know the status of the 6 paths reincarnation in the Yin realm, do you? That is the power of a supreme being in the Yin realm. If young master can give this power to my daughter, then my daughter will guarantee you a lifetime of freedom. Also, my daughter's name is Meng Yao." "Humph. With your status, you don't deserve this kind of power. Hand it over or tell me how to obtain it, and I can spare your life." The noble young man threatened coldly. He was the Netherworld King Empire's Ming Di. The person dressed in monk robes was called Di Ming, and he was from the Xitigarbha family. He did not say anything and looked at Zhao Fu seriously. The last person was a peerlessly beautiful woman with half white and half black hair. She was from the Impermanence family and was called Bai Qing. She smiled as she said, "I feel that it would be better for everyone if you stayed, so I'd advise you to stay." Zhao Fu coldly looked at everyone and felt a trace of anger. He put the sadistic killing sword away and took out the Emperor killing sword. The instant that Zhao Fu took out the Emperor killing sword, Di Ming's expression fell and he said, "That sword is the Chaos and Disaster sword. You all need to be careful." Xing. Just as he spoke, Zhao Fu sent his divine bloodline power into it, and a massive sword hum exploded out, tearing through the sky. A sharp and terrifying sword intent madly flowed out, creating a storm of sword chi. The heavens and earth dimmed as a sharp and dangerous aura appeared. Under this aura, Yen 3 and the others felt a chill in their hearts, and their hairs stood on end. Boom! At that moment, Zhao Fu also slashed out, and an enormous black blood crescent containing destructive power slashed out, seeming to be able to split the heavens and earth. Yen 3 and the others were greatly startled and exploded out with their full power. Waves of aura swept out like wild gales as they hurriedly released defensive barriers. Bang! 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 An enormous black crescent instantly slashed out, sending Yen 3 and the others flying 1,000 meters back, leaving behind a faint black sword gash and causing the surroundings to fall deathly silent. 1,000 meters away, Yen 3 and the others looked terrified. Their defensive barriers were already covered with cracks, and if they had not reacted in time or been careless, it was possible that they would have died under that sword strike. Zhao Fu did not continue to waste time with them and turned into a ray of light as he shot over the horizon. Seal the land. Di Ming looked at Zhao Fu flying away and put his palms together as he spoke like a Buddha. Shing, 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 pitch-black chains shot out from the ground, giving off terrifying power as they flew towards Zhao Fu. There were hundreds of thousands of them. Facing the countless chains, Zhao Fu swung the sword in his hand, and a sharp sword light flashed out, causing the heavens and earth to freeze. Clang! A clear sword hum sounded out as the chains shooting towards Zhao Fu were all cut apart. The broken pieces fell to the ground like raindrops. However, someone blocked in front of him. It was Xiemo. He raised his sword and slashed towards Zhao Fu. SSSS. The enormous violet python gave an ear-piercing hiss as it opened its terrifying mouth and bit towards Zhao Fu like a bolt of lightning, wanting to eat Zhao Fu in one bite. Zhao Fu coldly harumphed, and the emperor-killing sword in his hand gave off an intense sword light. Just as the massive python was about to bite Zhao Fu slashed out. Boom! The air seemed to explode as countless traces of black sword light covered the surroundings. The violet python was destroyed by Zhao Fu's attack, turning into countless traces of violet aura that spread out and creating a violet gale. Impermanences! Bai Qingya looked at Zhao Fu and lightly cried out as her hands quickly formed hand seals. A strange aura flowed out. Immediately, Zhao Fu felt a chill on his back as two 10-meter-tall figures giving off eerie auras appeared behind Zhao Fu. It was a black impermanence and a white impermanence, and they coldly stared at Zhao Fu. They raised their morning staffs and swung them down with immense power, causing the air to be torn apart and seeming to be able to shatter boulders. Clang, clang, clang. In that moment, the golden pupil in Zhao Fu's left eye quickly spun and golden chains shot out from the air, binding up the black and white impermanences behind him and dragging them into the sealed space, not giving them any chance to resist. 10,000 ghosts! Ming Di waved the large black flag in his hand, and a massive wave of ghostly qi flowed out, turning into countless ghosts that ferociously leapt at Zhao Fu. There were over 1 million of them, giving off shocking sounds. Chapter 1429. In the end, Zhao Fu and his group returned to the Nether Ghost City and did not encounter any danger. Zhao Fu used many methods to hide his aura and changed his route a few times, which was why he was not caught by higher beings. Of course, the biggest reason was that Zhao Fu had powerful heaven's secrets protecting him. Otherwise, no matter where Zhao Fu was, higher beings would be able to divine where he was. Yu Qin, Lu Ye, and the other beautiful women saw that Zhao Fu had returned and smiled, feeling much more at ease. The Nether Ghost City had been conquered by Zhao Fu, and even though some people were loyal to Yu Qin and the other beautiful women, without Zhao Fu present for a long time, others would have other thoughts. They would not be able to suppress these people for now, and they would be under a lot of pressure. However, seeing that Zhao Fu had brought back so many people, they felt quite shocked because these people gave off powerful auras and did not normally appear in the outside world. Moreover, there were 600 or so Saint Realm soldiers, which was not something that could be found in the outer domains. With just 600 or so people, they could easily destroy 1 million soldiers, and they had a powerful intimidation effect. What they cared about the most was that Zhao Fu had brought back so many women, and most of them were more beautiful than them, making them feel quite discouraged. However, they could not hold back their longing for Zhao Fu, so they took the initiative to go to Zhao Fu's room. After going at it intensely, they were able to relax. Zhao Fu was still very interested in them, and he did not ignore them just because there were so many women. Yu Qin's face was quite red, and she told Zhao Fu about what had happened in the Nether Ghost City. Zhao Fu understood and nodded. He planned to leave 100 Saint Realm soldiers here for Yu Qin and the others to develop. Zhao Fu did not plan to send a large number of soldiers over, as he was still in the limelight. He had to be careful and wait for the limelight to pass before considering developing in the underworld. It was about time for this trip to the underworld to conclude here. However, they had made massive gains this time, especially since Great Qin now had an Emperor Heaven Realm expert as well as the gains from the final stage in the historical remnant. Thinking of this, Zhao Fu smiled. When he returned, these things would be of great use. After hearing that Zhao Fu was going to leave, Yu Qin and the other beautiful women said reluctantly, "Husband, you must come back to see us more often." Zhao Fu smiled and nodded. Then, he began to have sex with them again. The next day, Zhao Fu returned to Qin and made the women he had brought concubines. These women all had massive amounts of fate, especially Guiji and the women from the Nether Spirit Empire. They had more phoenix chi than hundreds of thousands of people. Then, the most important thing for Qin state was the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation. This matter was very important, so Zhao Fu summoned the important ministers of Qin state for a discussion. The sealing heaven suppressing earth formation was incredibly powerful, and ordinary people would not be able to unleash it. This was because it required one to refine nation armaments, which were the most important things to a kingdom. They were the most condensed items of a kingdom's fate. Not only did they have the ability to suppress a kingdom's fate, but they also had world-destroying power. Ordinary kingdoms could only have one. Countless people wanted to obtain them, but stealing them was useless. Without an imperial bloodline, one could not use them, and ordinary people did not have the ability to refine nation armaments. Because Qin state had the heaven and earth refining formation and Zhao Fu had refined countless nation armaments, they fulfilled the requirements for the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation. In actuality, Zhao Fu was quite worried. After setting down this formation, he would be independent from the Heaven Awakened world, and his fate would not be controlled by the Heaven Awakened world. He was worried that there would be severe consequences, so Zhao Fu did not dare to be careless and gathered his ministers to discuss this. The ministers were split into two factions. One faction supported this as it was a massive advantage, and it was an ability that no one apart from Qin state had. The other faction was opposed as they did not know the consequences of setting down the formation, and it could cause great harm to Qin state. Hearing the two factions discuss the pros and cons, Zhao Fu hesitated because this decision could change Qin state's fate. Boom! Suddenly, another shocking explosion sounded out as the heavens and earth dimmed. Clouds swirled as the aura became chaotic, and countless creatures felt a trace of fear. System announcement. City stats have been weakened. System announcement. Region power has been weakened. System announcement. Nation fate has been slightly affected. System announcement. The Heaven Awakened world's spirit chi has slightly decreased. System announcement. The Outer World Battlefield's rewards have been increased. Looking at the system announcements in his mind, Zhao Fu's heart sank, and the ministers felt the same. The Heaven Awakened world situation was quite bad. The city's stats and region's power were once again weakened, and even though nation fate was not affected, it was slightly affected. Now, the Heaven Awakened world's spirit chi had slightly decreased, and spirit chi was the foundation of cultivation. Without it, no one could cultivate. Finally, there was the Outer World Battlefield. Even though Qin's state had opened up an outer world battlefield and killed many outer world creatures, he could clearly see how terrifying the outer world creatures were. Ordinary people were not a match for them at all. Zhao Fu was in a remote corner of the outer world battlefield and was not familiar with the outer world battlefield. However, from how the Heaven Awakened world had increased the rewards, it was likely that the outer world battlefield would be disadvantageous to the Heaven Awakened world. Qin's state naturally could not change this, as Qin's state was like a grain of sand in a vast ocean and could not make a difference. However, because of this system announcement, Zhao Fu decided to use the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation. Some of the other ministers had some objections, but Zhao Fu stood his ground and insisted on his decision. Qin's state had conquered 5 worlds and destroyed countless kingdoms, and he now had 280 or so nation armament. Normally, Zhao Fu only used Qin's state's nation armament because it was Qin's state's nation armament. It was quite comfortable to use and it was the most powerful. Zhao Fu left Qin's state's nation armament and China's clan armament. The other nation armaments and clan armaments could all be used in the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation. Following this, Zhao Fu started to order people to prepare according to the instructions given by the Jade Disc. This sealing heaven suppressing earth formation was very different from other formations. First, it required a 99-meter-tall tower. Furthermore, it had to be divided into 24 levels. Each level had to be covered in runes and protected by a grand formation. The large formations were at the bottom of the tower with the tower as the center. Apart from ordinary spirit-gathering formations and defensive formations, the most important ones were the small formations for the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation. The sealing heaven suppressing earth formation was not a single formation, it was a massive formation made up of countless smaller formations. Moreover, it had to cover the entire territory of a kingdom, and the nation armament would be placed at the top of the tower. Chapter 1430. Thinking about what had just happened, Zhao Fu decided to expand the sealing heaven suppressing earth formations area. With 280 or so nation armaments, he could at most cover 3 worlds, and because they were spread out, they were quite weak. If he used all of the nation armaments in the human world, the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation would be quite powerful. However, Qin's population was close to 400 billion, and a single world could not hold so many people. As such, Zhao Fu wanted to expand the formation. Building towers was not a problem, and Zhao Fu mobilized some manpower and resources. In just a day, they had completed 280 towers. Moreover, within the royal city of Qin, there was a 1,000-meter-tall tower. This was the core of the sealing heaven suppressing earth formation, and it was used to connect to and control the other towers. What was placed here was definitely not an ordinary nation armament. Zhao Fu planned to place the human world's clan armament, the Book of God, here. This was the human world, and no matter if it was in terms of stats or fate, the Book of God was quite suitable. In actuality, the best item was China's clan armament, the Imperial Ruler's Seal. However, the Imperial Ruler's Seal was extremely closely connected to Qin's bloodline, and if it was used as a clan armament, Qin's bloodline would fall. Moreover, it was possible that Zhao Fu would have to use the Imperial Ruler's Seal at some point, so he could not use it. The Book of God was not only a clan armament but also a faith item, and it was much better than India's clan armament. After everything was prepared, Zhao Fu went to the core tower of the royal city of Qin and placed the Book of God at the top of the tower. There was a magic formation at the top of the tower, but it had not been activated yet. The Book of God was placed within the magic formation, and Zhao Fu deeply breathed in and calmed himself down before squatting down and pressing his hand against the magic formation. Boom! An explosion sounded out as Zhao Fu sent his power into it, activating the magic formation. The magic formation gave off boundless light and a terrifying aura, and the Book of God, which had been on the ground, floated in the air and gave off a faint light. Immediately, the 1,000-meter-tall tower flickered with countless runes, and the magic formations at the bottom were activated, giving off light. The surrounding heaven and earth energy and fate quickly gathered towards the tower. The tower absorbed large amounts of heaven and earth power and fate and gave off intense light, giving off a shocking aura. This aura and light became stronger and stronger, and the surrounding space seemed to freeze. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the tower gave off a massive pillar of light that rushed into the sky with unstoppable force. It ferociously slammed into the sky, causing ripples of light to spread out. It carried an astonishing aura. The three worlds' towers all flickered with runes, and the magic formations were automatically activated. Massive amounts of heaven and earth power flowed into them, and different colored pillars of light containing terrifying power shot into the sky. The sky became chaotic, and there were all sorts of colors. Clouds quickly gathered, and large gales started to blow. Countless people felt a terrifying might descend from the sky, and they could not help but feel nervous. At the top of the pillar of light from the Qin royal city's tower, the image of a massive book gradually appeared. Images of nation armaments also appeared in other places. There were massive dragon boats, pearls giving off black light, exquisite mirrors. After these images appeared, a massive magic formation appeared. With the images of the nation armaments as the center, it formed a massive magic formation that covered the three worlds. Everyone looked at the massive magic formation in the sky in shock, feeling as if they were facing an ocean. The other worlds also sensed the ripples from Qin Royal City and looked at Qin Royal City in shock. After the massive magic formation appeared, a boundless formless energy spread out, reaching into the sky and the ground. Everything in the world seemed to go through mysterious changes. The three worlds slightly trembled, and the flowers, grass, trees, mountains, and rivers all gave off a soft light. Boundless heaven and earth power madly gathered at the center of the three worlds, and three terrifying waves of power spread out, causing the heavens and earth to dim and all creatures to tremble. The formless energy continuously gathered, and the terrifying might became stronger and stronger. Even space seemed to be unable to withstand it, and in the end, the formless energy formed three items. The human world formed a blue crystal orb that was as big as an egg, the fish-scale world formed a golden fish, and the dark demon world formed a black humanoid statue. The power that the three items gave off was incredibly terrifying, and their auras seemed to suppress the heavens and earth. Countless creatures looked at the sky in terror, and the three items gave off three source auras. These three source auras all came from their respective world. The massive magic formation slightly spun in the sky, and the three items disappeared and appeared in front of Zhao Fu. Looking at the three items in front of him, Zhao Fu looked quite shocked because these three items were condensed from the three worlds' consciousnesses. It was said in the past that every world had its own consciousness, but after the heaven domain boundary weakened, the world's consciousness would fuse into the heaven-awakened world and become a part of it. Now, the sealing heaven-suppressing earth formation had extracted the three worlds' consciousnesses from the heaven-awakened world and formed these three items. With these three items, one would be able to truly control the world without any restrictions. These three items were condensed from the sealing heaven-suppressing earth formation, and they could only be placed within the tower. Moreover, the sealing heaven-suppressing earth formation had to be maintained at all times, or else the three items would disappear. Now that the sealing heaven-suppressing earth formation had been activated, Zhao Fu did not plan to use it for now, nor did he plan to break off from the heaven-awakened world. After all, Zhao Fu knew how severe the consequences would be. If Zhao Fu chose to become independent, the heaven-awakened world's various stats would disappear, and the three worlds might even split from the heaven-awakened world and enter the boundless void. When that time came, Qin would have to face countless unknown dangers. As such, Zhao Fu would not choose to become independent for now, as that would be equivalent to seeking death. Right now, he could only hope that nothing bad would happen to the Heaven-awakened world. Becoming independent was just a backup plan for the future. The massive spell formation that encompassed the three worlds began to slowly fade into the sky. The strange phenomena around them also disappeared, and the world returned to normal. The surrounding worlds all sent out spies, wanting to know what had happened in Qin. Zhao Fu smiled as he returned to Qin's palace. Now that this important matter had been resolved, Zhao Fu felt much more relaxed. There were two more things to do. One was to plant the Dark Night Flower. As one of the Heaven-awakened world's 7 wondrous flowers, the Dark Night Flower had powerful stats and was very helpful to flower fairies. Chapter 1431. The second thing was to build a place to nurture Yin soul beasts, which required a large amount of Yin Qi. Even though the place where Qin's ghost soldiers had a large amount of Yin Qi, because he needed to nurture Yin soldiers and Yin soul beasts, he needed to find a new place. In actuality, it was best to build a place to nurture Yin soul beasts in the underworld, as there was boundless Yin Qi there. However, Qin had not developed yet, so it was not safe. Yin soul beasts were also quite important to Qin, as they could allow Qin soldiers to quickly have Stage 2 ghost soldiers. Because of the Yin soul beasts, these ghost soldiers would be stronger than ordinary Stage 2 soldiers. Moreover, Zhao Fu had obtained the highest grade Yin soul beast's heart, which would allow him to nurture even higher grade Yin soul beasts and ghost soldiers of even higher grades. Zhao Fu first took care of planting the Dark Night Flower, and he planned to plant it in the flower domain. Because there were all sorts of attributes that were beneficial to flowers, and because the flower fairy lived there, it had become a celestial region. However, the Dark Night Flower was a Yin attribute and needed Yin Qi to grow. This was quite easy, and Zhao Fu planned to create a Yin area in the flower domain. Growing a single flower should not be a problem. After coming to the palace in the flower domain, Zhao Fu found that there were 300 or so flower spirits here. All of them were slim and flirtatious, and they normally stayed within the flower domain. They would receive orders to cast life magic and speed up the growth of the plants, and they were all managed by the flower fairy. "We greet your majesty." Seeing Zhao Fu arrive, the flower spirits gave flirtatious and happy smiles and called out in anticipation. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded in response before finding the flower fairy, who was maintaining the magic formation. "Husband, why have you come?" The flower fairy looked at Zhao Fu with her beautiful eyes and gave a sweet smile as she spoke. Zhao Fu smiled as he hugged her and told her about the Dark Night Flower. After hearing that Zhao Fu had obtained another wondrous flower, a happy smile appeared on the flower fairy's face, as these wondrous flowers were incredibly important to her. "Husband, I have a special method for growing Yin flowers. It should be very helpful to the Dark Night Flower," the flower fairy said with a smile as she hugged Zhao Fu. Looking at the beautiful flower fairy in his arms, a trace of a smile appeared on Zhao Fu's face as he picked her up and said, "We'll talk later." The flower fairy knew what Zhao Fu wanted to do, so she blushed and lightly nodded. The room was soon filled with the sounds of making love. A while later, the flower fairy lay in Zhao Fu's embrace and said with a reddened face, "Husband, I'm very happy. You should pamper those flower fairies instead." Zhao Fu's expression froze as he asked in confusion, "Why?" The flower fairy looked quite embarrassed as she explained, "It's because when we nurtured flower fairies, the flower fairies were contaminated with your aura. Not only would they not give birth to male flower fairies, but they would also greatly miss you and do it, and I agreed to it." Zhao Fu understood. He had thought that there were no male flower fairies, but this was the reason. As such, when he had come to the palace, the flower fairies had looked at him with anticipation. "Your Majesty, we're here to serve you." A group of flower fairies had been waiting outside the door, and hearing the flower fairies' words, they flirtatiously smiled as they lightly opened the door. Following this, indescribable sounds sounded out within the room as Zhao Fu tasted each flower fairy. All of them had different tastes and gave off faint floral fragrances. After doing it, Zhao Fu went back to business. In actuality, before coming to the palace, Zhao Fu had ordered people to dig a 10,000-meter wide and hundreds of meters deep crater in the flower domain. There were all sorts of corpses within the crater. There were soldiers, commoners, men, women, and children, and they all had pained, terrified, pleading, hateful, and furious expressions on their faces. These people were all soldiers and commoners that Qin had killed when he had started the war. Qin had collected their corpses, and he felt that any corpse would be very useful to Qin. There were hundreds of thousands of corpses within the crater, and seeing this scene was incredibly terrifying and shocking. Facing such a bloody and cruel scene, ordinary people would feel nauseous and vomit. Zhao Fu's expression was calm and did not change at all because he had seen this many times. He ordered people to bury these corpses. Zhao Fu needed these corpses to create a inland, and the corpses could be used as nourishment for the Dark Night Flower. After the soldiers buried the corpses, Zhao Fu landed on the ground and squatted down. He pressed a hand against the ground, and the 6 gray dots in his right eye quickly spun. A massive wave of yin qi flowed out of Zhao Fu's body, forming 6 gray orbs around Zhao Fu. Swish, swish, swish. Under Zhao Fu's control, the 6 gray orbs gave off massive amounts of yin qi as they flew out. They each took a position and landed on the ground, and a magic formation appeared. Arg! As soon as the huge formation appeared, the remnant souls of the people buried underground turned into ghosts. They let out mournful howls and surged out of the ground. Malicious ghosts climbed out of the ground, and their blood-red eyes were filled with hatred as they stared at Zhao Fu. Even though Zhao Fu had not killed them, Zhao Fu had given the order, so all of their resentment was focused on Zhao Fu. It seemed that creatures that had turned into ghosts all had the ability to understand karma. The more powerful the ghost, the more powerful this ability would be. Facing these malicious ghosts, Zhao Fu did not care at all. Most of them did not even have stage 0 to 0 power, which meant that they did not have any power and only looked quite terrifying. If a person's aura was a bit stronger, they would not dare to come close. However, because they had the advantage in numbers, they still rushed towards Zhao Fu. The ghost hordes rushed at them from all directions, looking quite terrifying. Scram! Zhao Fu roared, and his divine realm aura exploded out, sweeping out like a wild gale. The incoming malicious ghosts dissipated without being able to resist at all. The ground became black, and the blackness continuously spread out, giving off an incredibly cold and eerie aura, making it so that no one dared to come close. Zhao Fu's inland had been successfully converted. After digging a shallow hole, Zhao Fu took out the Dark Night Flower seed and placed it within it. Then, he took out a small bottle, which contained the 10,000-year yin liquid. Zhao Fu poured the bottle of 10,000-year yin liquid into it, and when the gray liquid fell onto the seed, it instantly fused into it. The seed madly started to grow, and it started to grow black roots that stabbed into the ground, followed by branches and leaves. Finally, it grew a 3,000-meter tall, black branches, leaves that looked like ghostly claws, and a flower bud that gave off a faint blue light. Chapter 1432. After dealing with these matters, Zhao Fu went to the ghost soldier transformation ground. He decided to make the place to nurture yin soul beasts here, as it was not very safe in the underworld. It would be easy for others to discover it and destroy it, and all of his efforts would be wasted. Zhao Fu planned to expand the ghost soldier transformation ground so that there would be more yin qi. As for the method, Zhao Fu had already thought of it. In the historical remnant, Zhao Fu and the others had killed a stone dragon and obtained a yin vein pearl. This pearl could not only obtain a large amount of yin qi, but it could also turn the ghost soldier transformation ground into a yin qi treasure ground. The yin vein was incredibly powerful, and the Devil Horn Empire was only so powerful because of that devil vein. Even though this yin vein could not compare to it, it would still be very useful. After coming to the center of the yin land, Zhao Fu half-squatted on the ground and pressed the yin vein pearl into the ground. The yin vein pearl gave off a powerful light and a formless energy spread out. Roar! A massive dragon's roar sounded out in all directions, and a massive wave of yin qi rushed into the heavens and earth. Dark clouds surged over, and an eerie wind blew. An eerie and cold energy shook the surroundings, causing people's hairs to stand on end. A massive yin dragon's image appeared. It was covered with gray scales, gray horns, and gray eyes, and it circled around the ghost soldier transformation ground. Boom! After the yin dragon appeared, the ghost soldier transformation ground seemed to come to life and exploded out with a powerful yin energy. The ground quickly became gray and was filled with large amounts of yin qi, and countless traces of yin qi flowed over. The yin vein pearl continuously gave off an intense light, and the energy it gave off became stronger and stronger. The ground cracked and collapsed, and Zhao Fu got up and retreated to the side. The yin vein pearl gave off a light and automatically floated into the air. A 10-meter wide and 5-meter deep crater appeared on the ground, and countless amounts of yin qi gathered there, forming drops of gray liquid. As more and more of the liquid gathered, it formed a pool of gray water. Looking at this gray pool of water, Zhao Fu felt quite delighted. He had never thought that he would be able to condense a yin spring. This yin spring water was a treasure and contained large amounts of pure yin qi. Now that the problem of the yin land was solved, the next step was to build a place to cultivate the yin soul beast. It was actually very simple. Zhao Fu ordered people to build a large piece of flat ground that was completely paved with stone brick. He then built a 3-meter-tall platform at the center and carved out a yin soul magic formation. He then placed the yin soul beast's heart at the center of the magic formation. When the silver hexagonal yin soul beast's heart was placed in the formation immediately emitted an intense silver light. Moreover, a silver color spread from the platform to the surroundings, dyeing the entire ground silver. Now that the cultivation site had been established, the next step was the cultivation method, which was a bit cruel. First, they had to burn the soil into huge pot. It was best to use soil that contained yin qi. Then, they had to tie people or beasts. If they weren't tied up, they wouldn't be able to do the following things because they would struggle. After tying up these people, they were placed into these large jars. Then, they were filled with soil. These people or creatures were basically buried alive, and they contained a large amount of resentment. Because these pots were placed on flat ground, they would absorb large amounts of yin soul energy. After a certain period of time, the people or beasts that were buried alive would become yin soul beasts. Zhao Fu had already ordered people to burn the pot. Each pot was about 3 meters tall and 3 meters wide, and they were black-gray in color. They were placed on the silver ground in an orderly manner. The people or beasts that were tied up struggled in terror because they knew what was about to happen. They couldn't cry out because their mouths were sealed, and if they were buried alive, their resentment would be even greater. There were naturally elderly people, children, women, and men. There were also all sorts of beasts, such as goats, tigers, monkeys, cows, snakes, and so on. After the creatures were placed inside, the soldiers quickly poured the soil inside. The creatures inside quickly suffocated to death. Now, all they had to do was wait. Zhao Fu didn't know what these creatures would look like when they became yin soul beasts. Right now, Zhao Fu had only placed 10,000 pots on the ground. Right now, the yin soul beast's heart's power was limited, and it needed time to grow. Every soul beast that it transformed would be under its control, and the more it transformed, the stronger it would be, and the stronger it would be, the more it would transform. After dealing with these things, Zhao Fu returned to the Qin Imperial Palace and took out a token that was emitting devil qi. It was the token of the relic of the devil area. Zhao Fu found Ming Lingshuan and asked her if she knew anything about these ruins. Zhao Fu was now quite interested in these ruins. Ming Lingshuan shook her head and replied, "Husband, there is no need to worry. Apart from that person, no one else knows about this relic token. I heard that it was also obtained by that person by accident." The person that Ming Lingshuan was referring to was naturally her father. She did not want to mention her father, so she used that person instead. Hearing this, Zhao Fu understood and nodded. Even though Zhao Fu was quite interested, he had just returned from the underworld and did not plan on going back for now. Moreover, that was the demon domain, and it would take a lot of time. He could only wait until there were more worlds in the future. Over the time that Zhao Fu had left, many things had happened. The first was the Aeolian Empire. The Aeolian Empire had gathered a large number of workers to build a defensive belt around the charmed devil, elf, grassy, and half-beast worlds. There were also countless restrictions that made it impossible for anyone to silently pass through. The Aeolian Empire had been developing here for so long, but its opponent, the Demon Cloud Empire, had not reacted at all. They had allowed the Aeolian Empire to develop here. Zhao Fu suspected that the two empires had reconciled and that the Demon Cloud Empire would not interfere with the Aeolian Empire's matters. Since Zhao Fu did not want to rely on the Demon Cloud Empire, he did not care too much. After this trip to the historical remnant, Zhao Fu had gained some confidence and was not as powerless and afraid as before. Next was the Devil Horn Empire. During this period of time, the Devil Horn Empire had developed incredibly quickly and conquered another world, which was a world below the Fishman world. That world was a devil race world called the Flying Bird Race. They were a half-human, half-bird devil race. Their upper bodies were like humans and their lower bodies were like birds, and they had wings and claws. They were incredibly savage and bloodthirsty, and they were a barbaric and desolate civilization. Yao Ming had conquered this world relatively easily, and he had taken a woman from the Flying Bird Race who had an extremely high status as a concubine. It was said that the woman was extremely beautiful, but her lower body was a bird's, making it hard for people to have any thoughts about her. Chapter 1433. After conquering the Sob Flying Race, the Devil Horn Empire's strength rose by another level. It now had 5 worlds, which was the same as Great Qin. Moreover, because they had obtained the Sob Flying Race, Yao Ming had established a massive air force. When he said that his strength had increased by a level, he was referring to this aspect. His aerial strength had been greatly enhanced. Moreover, the Air Force now had an advantage because only Stage 3 or Stage 4 soldiers could fly. Sometimes they would be suppressed by formations and would not be as agile. Because the Aeolian Empire was in the middle, the Devil Horn Empire did not make trouble for Qin City and focused on developing its own faction. Now, there was a world that was surrounded on all sides and was in a difficult situation. Moreover, that world had been split in half. This world was naturally the desolate Crow world. The worlds above and to the left had been conquered by the Devil Horn Empire, the world to the right belonged to the Aeolian Empire, and the world below belonged to Qin City. If it wasn't for Qin City, the Devil Horn Empire would have destroyed the desolate Crow world long ago, and CG would not be able to stop Yao Ming. CG was quite clear about this. Without the Qin Empire, Yao Ming would not have kept him, and CG did not want to submit to anyone. Otherwise, he would not have escaped from the human world back then. As for the surrounding worlds, their opinions were quite divided. After all, both Qin City and the Devil Horn Empire had signed contracts with them, so most worlds chose to protect themselves. As such, they did not form an alliance to attack the Devil Horn Empire or the Devil Horn Empire. Otherwise, with the Devil Horn Empire's ferocious attacks, many worlds would have allied together to attack it. However, this was not possible. This place was now split into 3 worlds: the Devil Horn Empire, the Wind God Empire, and Qin City. Husband, the situation in the desolate Crow world is quite complicated, and I want you to go and take a look. Shuer, the voluptuous and alluring woman, walked in and said as she bowed. Zhao Fu had expected this, so he smiled and nodded. Seeing Zhao Fu agree, Shuer went up and hugged Zhao Fu as she said happily, "Then can husband take me with you? I haven't been there in a long time and I miss that place. I heard that it has changed a lot." Zhao Fu thought about it and didn't refuse. Shuer was overjoyed and revealed a charming smile. "Thank you, husband. Now I will serve you well." After saying that, Shuer squatted down and serviced Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was unable to refuse such an alluring woman, and the 2 of them intensely went about it before coming to the desolate Crow world. Now, Aragawa province was under great pressure. Now that they were surrounded on all sides, they had no chance to escape. Moreover, they could not afford to offend any of the 3 forces that surrounded them, so they could only ask Qin for help. Aragawa province had also changed a lot. They had built their own cities and palaces instead of tents. They also had armor and excellent weapons, which were all provided by Qin. At the banquet, Zhao Fu and Mok, the king of Aragawa province and Shuer's ex-husband, sat at the top. With Zhao Fu's status, it was impossible for him to sit below while Mok sat above. Sitting next to Mok was a woman who looked somewhat similar to Shuer. However, she did not have Shuer's flirtatious aura and instead had a pure beauty to her. Shuer looked at Mok somewhat bitterly and explained to Zhao Fu, "Husband, that's my little sister. That's my little sister." She was already married, but Mok still brought her to the palace and made her a princess. "Originally, I wanted to serve you with my sister." Because Mok loved Shuer too much, Shuer was now Zhao Fu's woman and had been given to Zhao Fu. He could only bring her little sister Shueli to replace Shuer. However, he gradually fell in love with her, and Shuer did not have her big sister's perverted physique. He could satisfy her, and he could play with a few more women. His life now was quite comfortable, and his face was ruddy and his aura was powerful. Sitting below, Moyue looked at his mother leaning against Zhao Fu's body with a red face. He naturally thought about how Zhao Fu and Shuer had done it before, and he could not help but feel excited. "Moyue, what are you thinking, you bastard?" A beautiful woman with a fiery figure angrily pinched Moyue as she said in a small voice. She was now Moyue's woman and was called Henny. She was the daughter of an important minister in Aragawa province, and in order to make Aragawa province more stable, Mok had Moyue marry her. Looking at Moyue, who normally did not like to touch her, seeing her mother so excited, Henny naturally felt quite angry. She had heard some rumors before, and it seemed that they were true. This matter was quite shameful, so she could only call out in a small voice. Moyue felt a pain in his body, and came back to his senses. He angrily turned to look at Henny, and looking at such a beautiful wife, Moyue suddenly thought of an evil thing. "Your Majesty Qin, the situation is quite tense, so please help out." Mok raised a cup of wine and smiled as he toasted Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu did not reply. Right now, Zhao Fu did not care too much about Aragawa province's matters. Qin was already quite powerful, and even if he was obtained by CG or the Devil Horn Empire, it would not be much of a loss to Qin, and his threat would be limited. Now, did Qin still need to provide a large amount of manpower and resources to prepare Aragawa province? At most, this would reduce the danger Qin would face, and would not bring much benefits. The situation here had become quite complicated, and Zhao Fu was worried about what the Aeolian Empire would do, so he hesitated. Seeing that Zhao Fu did not reply, Moyue's smile froze and he felt quite nervous. Everyone else in the hall felt the same, as they could only rely on Qin now. Following this, Moyue could only look at Schwerer in Zhao Fu's embrace. Schwerer naturally knew what he was thinking, and she looked slightly displeased as she said, "Husband, can you help Desolate Crow a bit more? Can you help Desolate Crow a bit? I'll serve you well tonight." Zhao Fu lightly laughed and raised his wine cup as he said, "That's no problem. Qin will help you tonight." Hearing this, everyone else felt relieved and smiled, and the atmosphere in the hall became lively. However, Zhao Fu decided to maintain the status quo. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not help Aragawa province. After the banquet concluded, Zhao Fu obtained some general information about Aragawa province and planned to return to Qin. "Your Majesty Qin, please wait. There's something I want to discuss with you." Moyue and Henny stopped Zhao Fu. Because Henny knew how terrifying Zhao Fu was, she did not dare to be too presumptuous and slightly bowed to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked at Moya in confusion and asked, "What is it?" Chapter 1434. Moyue looked around and saw that there was no one around, so he smiled as he pointed at Henny and said, "Qin's Majesty, this is my consort, and I'm willing to offer her to you. I've already prepared a room, and you just need to go there." Henny had never thought that Moyue would call her here to offer her to Zhao Fu, and she angrily cursed at him. "Moyue, you bastard!" As she cursed, Henny raised her fist and wanted to hit Moyue. However, she suddenly realized that Zhao Fu was by the side, so she could only endure it and hatefully glare at Moyue. Shuru also looked at Moyue reproachfully and said, "You heir, how can you be like your father? How can you be like your father? She is your wife, but you treat her like this. I will be angry." Moyue pretended to look worried as he sighed and said, "In actuality, I know that your Majesty won't help Aragawa province, and I'm just thinking about Aragawa province. Moreover, Henny is such a beautiful woman and shouldn't stay by my side. She already has a better place to go and will have a better life. She doesn't need to worry and be afraid." Henny felt quite startled and felt quite touched as she looked at Moyue. So Moyue was thinking about her and Aragawa province. He was incredibly broad-minded. Perhaps she had wronged him. Shuru looked at Moyue and felt quite pained. She then turned to Zhao Fu and asked, "Husband, are you really not going to help the Golden Crow Kingdom?" Zhao Fu lightly laughed. How could he say such things out loud? He said, "There's no such thing, you're all thinking too much. Also, I won't accept her." If it was his enemy's wife or daughter, Zhao Fu would not hesitate at all. However, Moyue was on his side, and Henny looked quite unwilling, so Zhao Fu naturally would not accept her. After all, Zhao Fu had his own principles. Moyue had never thought that this would happen. In actuality, he had prepared a room for himself, and he wanted to see his mother and wife do it with Zhao Fu. "Your Majesty, please accept Henny. You'd better accept Henny. Even if you don't want her, you can still enjoy her once. She's still a virgin. I haven't touched her at all." Henny looked hesitant. She looked at the righteous Moyue and thought about her family. She bowed slightly towards Zhao Fu and said, "Your Majesty, I'm willing to serve you. Please help Aragawa province." Schwer looked at Zhao Fu worriedly. She didn't want what had happened to her to happen to Henny. Zhao Fu laughed. Without saying anything, he turned around and left with Schwer in his arms. Moyue looked disappointed. His plan had failed, and Henny happily hugged Moyue. She felt that she somewhat liked Moyue and had changed her way of thinking. After returning to Qin, Zhao Fu received news that the Aeolian Empire had sent a few words, asking Qin to cede the fish-scale world to the Aeolian Empire, and the Aeolian Empire would give some compensation. Before, the Aeolian Empire's attitude had been incredibly domineering and arrogant, telling people to piss off or leave. Now that they knew about Qin's strength, the Aeolian Empire's attitude became much more subdued. They did not want to suffer too great of a loss in order to obtain the fish-scale world. The fish scale world was next to the wind spirit world, and the Aeolian Empire had to obtain it. However, the fish scale world was protected by the heavenly domain boundary, and the Aeolian Empire could not break through it. As such, they could only ask the Qin Empire for it. Otherwise, they would have to attack Qin first before obtaining the fish scale world. They knew that Qin would not give it to them so easily. After all, the fish scale world was not like the grassy world, and it did not have any people or cities. Moreover, Qin only had a few continents, not an entire world, so they asked for some compensation. After hearing about this, Zhao Fu felt quite displeased. He had already been quite annoyed when Qin had given up a few continents, and now, he wanted a world as compensation. How could Zhao Fu agree? Zhao Fu had long since expected this day, so he gathered Qin's ministers to discuss this. This was not a small matter, as Qin was going to face a royal kingdom, and it was a royal kingdom from the inner regions. Boom! A massive explosion sounded out as a massive might spread out, causing the heavens and earth to dim and the sun and moon to dim. Countless creatures' bodies froze as if they had fallen into icy water, and their bodies uncontrollably trembled. This was the power of an Emperor Heaven Realm expert, and it was an existence that could sweep through the outer regions. The Aeolian Empire knew that Qin would not agree so easily, so it planned to put pressure on Qin to make it clear that Qin did not have the power to stop the Aeolian Empire. It was not that they could not destroy Qin, but that their losses would be too great. Now they were giving Qin some face, which was already showing enough respect for Qin. Otherwise, they would have long since destroyed Qin so that Qin would be more tactful. At the boundary of the human world, a valiant-looking middle-aged man dressed in green stood in the sky. The terrifying aura came from his body. The middle-aged man was called Feng Wulin, and he was one of the 5 Emperor Heaven Realm experts of the Aeolian Empire. Sensing such a terrifying aura, Qin's soldiers gathered together and prepared to fight at any moment. However, their expressions were quite serious, as they understood that with their strength, they would not be able to stop an Emperor Heaven Realm expert and would most likely die here. After hearing about this, Yao Ming was incredibly delighted. The Aeolian Empire acting against the Qin Empire was the first thing he had seen, and he was the happiest. He wanted the Aeolian Empire to destroy Qin. That way, he would be able to take revenge and would have one less powerful opponent. CG was half delighted and half worried, and the reason for his delight was the same as Yao Ming's. Great Xia and Qin had a reconcilable enmity, so CG naturally hoped that Qin would be destroyed. However, with the current situation in the desolate Crow world, if Qin did not participate, Yao Ming would not hesitate to destroy him, and when that time came, he would also die. After hearing about this, some of the other factions were delighted and others were worried. They hoped that Qin would be destroyed so that they would not be threatened. However, they also hoped that Qin would not be destroyed, or else the Aeolian Empire would not have anything to fear. Sitting on the throne in Qin, Zhao Fu's eyes were cold and his body gave off a chilling intent, causing the palace to feel incredibly cold. It was as if they were in an icy cavern, and the ministers all lowered their heads, not daring to make any noise. Facing the Aeolian Empire's arrogant and domineering threat, Zhao Fu coldly replied, "Send our orders. Qin is to enter an all-out war and return to the Aeolian Empire. Qin definitely will not cede the fish-scale world, and if the Aeolian Empire wants it, destroy Qin first." Yes. The group of soldiers' expressions were cold as they replied in unison. They then left the palace and spread this news throughout Great Qin. All of Qin's residents and officials looked incredibly serious. Some were filled with passion and were willing to fight to the death with Qin, while others were worried and afraid. However, all of them made preparations for war. Chapter 1435. After hearing about this, the Aeolian Empire was infuriated. They had never thought that a small border kingdom would dare to treat the Aeolian Empire like this. Before, they had given Qin some face, but since Qin was seeking death, they could not be blamed. Immediately, the Wind God gathered 4 billion Stage 3 soldiers in the human world and left 1 billion soldiers to defend. They gave off a massive aura and rushed into the sky, causing clouds to swirl and causing everyone to fall into terror. After hearing about this, everyone could not help but sigh. The Qin Empire was most likely going to be destroyed. How could a border kingdom be a match for a royal kingdom in the inner regions? This battle was to be expected. Qin could only blame himself for being too stubborn and not giving in. Perhaps if the Aeolian Empire occupied the fish-scale world and conquered the charm devil's surrounding worlds, they would have 10 worlds, and Qin would not have fallen to such a state. After hearing about this, Yao Ming held a large banquet to celebrate and waited for Qin to be destroyed. Thinking about how Qin occupied 5 worlds, if the Wind God destroyed him, it would instantly take over 5 worlds. Adding on the worlds that the Aeolian Empire had conquered, it would have 9 worlds, and adding on the Wind Spirit world, which had not appeared yet, it would have 10 worlds. It could be said that if Qin was destroyed, everyone would be safe, and most people in the surrounding worlds would be happy to see this. After hearing about this, the royal kingdoms in the inner regions of the ancient stem domain felt quite surprised. Qin was so courageous. If he wanted the fish-scale world, he would have to destroy it. Did Qin not know that the Aeolian Empire could destroy it? They felt quite stupid. Now they could only sigh. They did not even need to think about what would happen to Qin. It was a pity that all the resources they had given Qin in the past had been wasted. They did not plan to get involved, as this was a royal kingdom in the inner regions. As the Aeolian Empire's army gathered, Qin's army quickly gathered as well. The auras that the 2 armies gave off caused the heavens and earth to freeze, and everyone's expressions became serious as they looked at each other. Feng Wulin also felt quite serious as he looked at Qin gathering 30 billion or so soldiers, of which there were 2 billion or so Stage 2 soldiers. This battle would not be as easy as he had thought. As an Emperor Heaven Realm expert, even though he could kill everyone on the other side and no one would be able to stop him, if billions of soldiers gathered together, they would be able to stop or even kill him. In such a large-scale battle, a single person's power was limited, which was why he did not stupidly rush to Qin's palace to kill Qin legatee. Feng Wulin looked at the sky and saw a cloaked figure giving off a powerful and noble aura. This person was most likely the Qin Empire's emperor. Qin Ling Spirit King Qin's legatee said, Qin said, Qin Star, King King that said. This was the last chance he was giving Qin. If it wasn't for the fact that Qin was so powerful, he would have long since given the order to attack. Zhao Fu coldly laughed and said, I'll say it again. Qin definitely won't give up the fish-scale world. Last time, Qin already took a step back and gave you 4 continents, which was already pushing Qin's bottom line. Don't think that just because you're a royal kingdom from the inner regions, Qin will fear you. Boom. Feng Wulin was infuriated. He could easily kill someone with Earth Realm cultivation like Zhao Fu. He exploded out with a powerful aura as he stretched out a hand and pointed at Zhao Fu, and a massive formless energy shot towards Zhao Fu. Bang! Just as that wave of energy was about to hit Zhao Fu, a figure appeared beside Zhao Fu and slashed out with a sword, destroying the incoming wave of energy. Feng Wulin's eyes slightly widened and his expression became serious because the woman beside Zhao Fu was actually an Emperor Heaven Realm expert. However, how could a remote kingdom have an Emperor Heaven Realm expert? Who are you? Why are you helping Qin? Feng Wulin asked coldly. He suspected that there was a faction helping Qin, and he was afraid of falling into a trap, so he did not give the order to attack. Guiji looked at Zhao Fu, and Zhao Fu found out why Feng Wulin was worried, so he pretended to be confident and said, Who she is has nothing to do with you. I already said that Qin doesn't fear you. If you want to fight, let's fight. This made Feng Wuling feel quite angry, but he started to hesitate. He only had 4 billion soldiers here, and if there was a royal kingdom secretly helping Qin, the Aeolian Empire would suffer heavy losses. Only factions in the inner domains would have Emperor Heaven Realm experts, and the strongest in the outer domains would only be at the World Realm. As such, it was impossible for an outer domain faction to help Qin. Of course, it was also possible that Qin did not know that he had invited an Emperor Heaven Realm expert to deal with him, and there was no faction helping Qin. If Qin was very weak, then it would be fine, as he could directly attack Qin. However, Qin was not weak at all and could still fight. If they fought, with the help of an inner domain faction, this side would be at a great disadvantage. Feng Wuling decided to be careful and report this matter to the Wind God Empire. They would gather more soldiers and experts here, and it would not be too late to destroy Great Qin. Feng Wuling made this decision. Humph. You'll pay for what you said today. When the time comes, I'll make Qin's corpses litter the plains and rivers of blood flow. After saying this, Feng Wuling turned and prepared to retreat. Today was a stain on his reputation. He had been forced to retreat by a small border kingdom. Hearing his threatening voice, Zhao Fu's expression became cold. He slowly raised a hand, and all of Qin's soldiers' expressions became serious as they simultaneously drew their bows and aimed at the Aeolian Empire's army. Feng Wuling looked at Zhao Fu in shock. Could it be that this person dared to take the initiative to attack him? Did he really dare to be so arrogant? Zhao Fu raised his hand and heavily slammed it down, and Zhao Fu's cold voice sounded throughout the battlefield. Attack! Now that Zhao Fu was certain that he could not reconcile with the Aeolian Empire, rather than having him gather more soldiers to attack Qin, it was better to attack first and make the Aeolian Empire lose some of its soldiers. Guiji exploded out with a powerful aura as she held her rainbow sword and rushed at Feng Wuling. Swish, 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 arrows tore through the sky and tore through the air, and countless arrows containing immense power shot towards the Wind God Empire like a torrential rain. Feng Wuling was furious to the extreme, and he also attacked. He took out a spear and attacked towards Guiji. Kill! The Aeolian Empire's army flooded towards Qin, giving off a terrifying aura that seemed to be able to destroy everything. Facing Great Qin's countless arrows, all of Great Qin's soldiers gave off faint azure light, forming a massive azure energy barrier. The arrows descended like rain, giving off ear-piercing sounds as they scraped against each other. Chapter 1436. This blue barrier was like an impenetrable wall. The countless arrows didn't have much effect on it. The arrows were either deflected or broken and fell from the sky. The Aeolian Empire's army continued to flood forwards, and the green barrier ferociously smashed towards Qin's city walls. Under such a terrifying attack, Qin's city walls would definitely shatter. Roar! 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 Countless wyverns charged out from the side, bringing with them terrifying power as they slammed into the massive azure energy barrier. Boom! Boom! Massive sounds rang out as the power of the countless beasts' attacks was incredibly terrifying. The green barrier started to tremble and countless cracks appeared on it, but it was unable to break through its powerful defenses. Swish, 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 the Aeolian Empire's army shot out arrows that contained terrifying power towards the terrifying beasts. Blood flew everywhere as wyverns and beasts fell to the ground, and beasts howled in pain. As Stage 3 soldiers, they could deal significant damage to the giant beast battlefield. They were no longer as powerless as Stage 1 soldiers, and they could now kill large amounts of beasts. However, Qin's army was not completely helpless. Dozens of 100-meter-long ultimate dragon-slaying ballistae were pushed out and arrows were shot out. There was a destruction crystal at the center of the arrowheads, and 100-meter-tall saints giving off terrifying holy light energy were summoned. Boom! Boom! Boom, arrows shot out with streams of light, seeming to explode the space around them. They were extremely fast as they streaked across the sky and collided with the green barrier. At that moment, the 100-meter-tall saints raised their arms towards the green barrier, and powerful beams of light containing ferocious power shot out towards the green barrier. Bang! 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 A series of loud explosions rang out, transforming into gusts of gales that spread out. The green energy barrier that was covered in cracks finally shattered and dissipated. This was a terrifying energy barrier condensed by 4 billion Stage 3 soldiers, and it was incredibly tough and could defend against all attack. Now, it had been destroyed by Qin's army with great difficulty. At this time, Qin's soldiers once again shot out arrows. The arrows whistled through the air like a heavy downpour. The sharpness of the arrows caused people's hearts to turn cold. The Aeolian Empire's army was also shocked. The huge green barrier had already been broken, and they could only use their own energy barriers. However, with their individual strength, how could they resist so many strong forces? Puff, 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 the defensive barriers of the Aeolian Empire soldiers were pierced through one by one. Blood splattered everywhere, and their bodies were pierced with all kinds of arrows. They died a horrible death. However, compared to the number of the Wind God army, the number of dead Aeolian Empire soldiers was only a small portion. There were not many casualties, so the situation was not that disadvantageous for Qin. Boom! Feng Wulin held his spear and rushed towards Guiji. The spear in his hand was surrounded by a whirlwind, giving off a wild gale. It gave off an extremely sharp aura, causing the sky to turn cold. A wave of ghost god power flowed out from Guiji's body, causing the surroundings to become cold. The massive ghost god power dyed the rainbow sword in her hand black, and it gave off an immense destructive power, making it look like an evil sword. Feng Wulin stabbed towards Guiji with his spear, and the whirlwind flew out as if it wanted to tear Guiji apart. Guiji slashed out with her sword, and a massive and ugly ghost leapt out and attacked Feng Wulin. Bang! The massive whirlwind and ghost collided, resulting in a massive explosion. A gray aura and a green gale blasted out, destroying everything in their path. Guiji and Feng Wulin were forced back dozens of meters, and the instant they stopped, Guiji grabbed out with her hand. A terrifying ghost hand gave off terrifying ripples as it grabbed towards Feng Wulin. Feng Wulin coldly laughed. He found that even though Guiji was an Emperor Heaven Realm expert, she did not have enough control over her own power. Wind massacre! Feng Wulin lightly roared as he vigorously stabbed out with his spear. An azure ray of light containing incredibly sharp power tore through the air incredibly quickly, slashing apart the ghost hand in an instant and shooting towards Guiji. Guiji felt quite startled and blocked with her sword, but she was sent flying by the azure ray of light, and a trace of blood leaked out of her lips. Shing! A sword hum sounded out as Zhao Fu appeared in front of Feng Wulin and stretched out his hand, slashing towards Feng Wulin with an intense sword light. Feng Wulin could sense that Zhao Fu was still in the Earth realm, and he looked quite condescending as he released an azure energy barrier, blocking Zhao Fu's sword. With Zhao Fu's Earth realm cultivation, it was almost impossible for him to destroy an Emperor Heaven Realm expert's defensive barrier, as the difference in strength was simply too great. A trace of killing intent flashed in Feng Wulin's eyes. If he could kill Zhao Fu, destroying the Qin Empire would be much easier. He prepared to turn his spear and stab towards Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu gave a cold smile and lightly cried out, "Sword Master!" Boom! A massive sword intent burst out, causing the heavens and earth to seem to freeze. At the same time, Zhao Fu exploded out with his nation armament's power, and an azure aura flame erupted around Zhao Fu's body as an extremely terrifying power exploded out. Bang! The defensive barrier was slashed apart by Zhao Fu's sword, and Feng Wulin looked quite confused. He had never thought that Zhao Fu would be able to break through his defense. He had the power of 10 worlds, and even if Zhao Fu released all of his nation armament's power, it would only be 5 worlds. Feng Wulin quickly reacted and dodged to the side, but a gash was still left on his arm, causing blood to flow out. Boom! Feng Wulin felt furious and exploded out with his Emperor Heaven Realm Expert's power. The heavens and earth dimmed as clouds swirled and massive amounts of world energy madly flowed into Feng Wulin's body, creating a massive gale. After seeing this, Zhao Fu quickly retreated, and Guiji exploded out with all of her power to tie down Feng Wulin. On the ground, the Wind God army started to fight with the Qin Empire's soldiers. Arrows easily pierced through the Qin Empire's soldiers' bodies, and a few of the Qin Empire's soldiers rushed up but were cut in half. Stage 3 soldiers could completely suppress Stage 1 soldiers, and if they went up one by one, they would definitely die. Only 10 or so soldiers working together could resist them. Great Qin soldiers continuously died, and so did the Wind God Empire's soldiers. Blood flew everywhere as deafening sounds of fighting filled the air. The battle was incredibly intense, making people feel quite shocked. The terrifying aura that this place gave off made it so that no creature dared to come close. Facing this, Zhao Fu did not care and flew back to the Qin Empire. Zhao Fu came to an empty area and Xianru reported, "Your Majesty, everything has been prepared. We just need that Emperor Heaven Realm Expert's blood." Chapter 1437. There were many insect eggs on the ground, and there were at least 10 million of them. There was also a 9-meter-tall altar at the center of the ground. Xianru took the orb of blood from Zhao Fu's hands and came to the altar. Zhao Fu had Xianru use the 10,000-person curse, which was something that Zhao Fu had obtained from the second prince. It could be used to curse a large group of people or a single person. These insect eggs were the best materials for casting curses, and there were 10 million of them. When used together with the 10,000-person curse, the curse's effects would be incredibly shocking. On the altar, Xianru performed different hand seals, and the orb of blood floated in front of her. A magic formation was activated beneath her feet, and a formless energy spread out, covering all of the insect eggs. The countless insect eggs gave off traces of gray aura, which slowly gathered towards the altar. More and more gray aura gathered, covering the altar. The orb of blood in front of Xianru turned into a rune that looked like an insect. "Your Majesty, it's enough." "That's enough," Xianru said as she turned and looked at Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu was already standing on the altar. Curses could be dispelled with fate, but it was also possible to receive a backlash from fate. The more powerful the fate of the curse, the more dangerous it would be. Zhao Fu had 4 Emperor stars, so he did not have to worry about this. However, it was fortunate that Feng Wulin was not the king of the Aeolian Empire, or else with an entire kingdom's fate on him, Zhao Fu would not dare to curse him at all. Zhao Fu walked into the magic formation and sent his power into the blood-red rune. The blood-red rune gave off a strange light, and the gray aura around it started to quickly spin. Boom! The blood-red rune flew into the sky, and countless traces of gray aura flooded into the sky, forming a massive gray pillar of aura. An eerie and strange aura spread out in the sky. Feng Wulin, who was fighting with Guiji, suddenly felt a chill run through his body as he felt a strange energy rush towards him. He turned and saw countless insects giving off terrifying auras as they flooded towards him. This caused his expression to change. He brandished his spear, creating a crescent moon that slashed towards the insects. However, he only managed to kill a few insects. The countless insects quickly arrived in front of Feng Wulin, causing him to panic. He unleashed all sorts of powers, but the effects on the insects were very weak. In the end, the countless insects entered Feng Wulin's body, causing him to feel immense pain. It was as if countless insects were eating at his body, causing him to howl. Lady Gui took this opportunity to knock Feng Wuling out with a punch before sealing his power. This caused all of the Wind God Army soldiers to feel quite startled. They had never thought that their commander would lose. The generals in charge of commanding the army felt quite panicked, but they quickly calmed down and continued to attack. Only then would they be able to save Feng Wuling. However, magic formations suddenly appeared on the ground, and before the soldiers on them could react, they disappeared. The Wind God Army quickly found that it was a teleportation formation, and they slashed out sword lights and saber lights to destroy it. However, because of the generals' attacks, 1.5 billion soldiers were forcibly teleported away. The Aeolian Empire's generals were incredibly shocked and hurriedly gave the order to retreat. The situation was completely disadvantageous to them. Not only had their strongest expert, Feng Wuling, been captured, but 1.5 billion soldiers had also disappeared. If they continued to fight, they would definitely lose. In the end, 1 billion Aeolian Empire soldiers retreated, and roughly 400 million Stage 3 soldiers had died. On Qin's side, 10,000 beasts and 1 billion soldiers had died. Even though Qin's side had suffered massive losses, being able to destroy 400 million Stage 3 soldiers was still worth it and was not a complete failure. Zhao Fu did not order the army to chase after them, as there were still 1 billion Aeolian Empire soldiers guarding the four worlds. The Aeolian Empire had 3.1 billion soldiers in total, and if they chased after them, they would suffer even greater losses. Zhao Fu did not care about this and quickly headed to a certain place. That place was the Devil Land, and Zhao Fu had a bold idea. He wanted to turn the Aeolian Empire's soldiers into devils so that they would listen to Qin's orders and not be loyal to the Aeolian Empire. However, this was destined to be quite difficult, as Stage 3 soldiers could unleash defensive barriers that could defend against the Devil Qi. Moreover, the Devil Land's barrier could be destroyed, and that was what Zhao Fu was most worried about, so he immediately headed there. Within the Devil World, none of the devils participated in the battle, and they were instead scattered around the Devil World, forming a large formation. Now, the number of monsters in the monster world had reached a terrifying number of more than 2 billion. The Wind God soldiers who had been forcefully teleported and looked at the blood-red sky, the black ground, and the strange vegetation around them and could not understand what this place was. Mama Jiggery gave a cold smile and called out, "Send the order to activate the Devil Qi formation." The countless devils obeyed and gave off massive roars. Their bodies gave off massive waves of Devil Qi, causing the entire Devil world to become chaotic. Gusts of devil wind started to blow, and demonic thunder sounded out in the sky. Under the control of the devils, the Devil world's core formation quickly started to activate, and the spreading Devil Qi seemed to be controlled by a formless power as it flooded towards the Wind God soldiers. Even though the Wind God soldiers did not know what the Devil Qi was, they felt that it was quite dangerous and quickly released energy barriers. However, how could they defend against such ferocious Devil Qi by themselves? The barriers that they had released were shattered by the Devil Qi, and countless traces of Devil Qi madly flowed into their bodies. Arg! Arg! The Wind God soldiers howled as the madly twisting power rampaged through their bodies. Their eyes became blood-red, and terrifying auras exploded out. The Wind God soldiers' expressions fell, and they hurriedly teamed up to unleash massive energy barriers, finally blocking the terrifying Devil Qi. The boundless Devil Qi madly attacked the energy barriers again and again, causing cracks to appear on the energy barriers before shattering. Countless traces of Devil Qi flowed into the barriers and corroded their bodies. Fortunately, these soldiers were scattered in different places and not all gathered together. Otherwise, it would have been very difficult to break through the energy barrier, and it definitely would not have been so easy. You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.